Evening. Welcome back to Beyond the Lane, episode 29. Hope everybody's keeping well. Big up to everybody watching at home. Big up to everybody in the chat. Please get involved throughout the night with your comments. That would be great. We'll try and get through as many as possible. Now, let's welcome in the guests. Stel, how are you, man? Thanks for jumping on tonight.
Yeah, as always, good to be on your show, my man. It's been a while. Thanks for having me on. Good to be here with you, Nige, the Kooky Meister, and first time with Soji. So yeah, let's rock and roll. Let's talk about Tottenham. I wonder what we'll talk about that we haven't said 2,000 times already. Let's repeat it again.
Yeah, I know, man. It's painful. It's painful stuff. Soji, big up to you, man. How are you? Thanks for jumping on, making your debut on the show.
Thank you for having me. Great to be here. Love the show. Yeah, it's a little bit of a touch of being a Tottenham fan these days. But listen, we all have blips in our lives. In reality, I guess we're going through that at this point in time. Kind of what you might call the eternal optimist, if you like. So, yeah, I mean, it's been tough, been a fun this day, but hey, we move, eh?
Yeah, man, we'll get into it, man. Thank you for jumping on tonight. Appreciate it. And Mark, how are you?
Yeah, big up, Dan. Big up, everyone on the panel. Nige, Stel, Soji. Thanks for inviting me on. Lovely to be here. And let's talk a bit of Tottenham, as Stel says and as Soji says. Let's get into it.
Cheers, Mark. And Nige, how are you, buddy?
I'm good, mate. Big up Stel, big up Soji, big up the Cookmeister, big up Dan, and as everyone in the chat has already said, peace and love, man. Peace and love.
Peace and love. So, guys, please, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to myself, Nige, Stel, Soji, and Mark. We'll put the links in the chat throughout the night. If you could subscribe to us all, if you haven't already, much appreciated. So tonight we'll be talking about that Wolves mess. We'll be discussing the second leg of the Frankfurt match on Thursday. And then we kind of really need to look ahead, what's going to happen in the summer. What we want as fans, manager-wise, changes in the recruitment, players, etc. So let's have a cracking show tonight, guys, and get into it all. But before we do, let's say hello to a few people in the chat and see who's here. Big up, Sheriff. Evening to you. Hope you're well. Big up, Mark. Ange out. Hope you're good, man. Big up to Totspur. Big up to you. Hope you're well. Big up, Tom. Big up, Henry Fong TV. Big up, CEM. Big up, Scott M. Big up, it's me. Evening to you. Big up, everyone, and welcome to the final week of the Ange era. What a shit show it's been. Yeah, certainly has. Mark saying, Stel, bloody legend. Big up guests. Big up Mark. Beyond the Stel. Big up Lord Rodney Trotter. Peace and love all. Nige on the piss, mate. You drinking tonight, mate?
Just one can.
Just one.
It's a weeknight, so.
Big up Terry. Hope you're well. Big up Show Me Lights. Peace and love all. Big up David Clark. Big up Fran. Any more here? Just double check before we get into it. I think that's it. Oh, a couple more. Big up Toxic Headshot. Evening to you. Big up Ben. Big up Custard 123. Man, they keep coming. Big up Spotlight Spurs. Right. And Perchy. One more. Big up Perchy as well. Right. Let's crack on. Let's crack on. So, guys, let's start off with that Wolves mess. Let's have a look. So Soji, let's go to you first on this one. What did you think of that performance when you were watching it, man? What did you make of it all?
Oh, unfortunately, I didn't see the match. I saw a few highlights and plenty of comments. How the game went. I mean, I think so. From a how do you put it perspective, I've got a friend who does food, like a partner on the show, and he's been saying, look, he thinks that the way our midfield is set up is almost like it's something not right there, and it's a variety of things. In the way we're set up, every time we lose balls in transition, we tend to just sort of almost like a route to goal. The errors just seem to be, how do I put it now? So many. I mean, I'm not sure if what the problem is in terms of player confidence, in terms of getting it right, in terms of how we sort of, at least in the last few games. Okay, against Frankfurt, I thought we were really good. I mean, in the last match, I mean, Frankfurt have been touted as the batter us and all that sort of thing going on in the mainstream press that we have the chance, and I didn't think they offered much apart from a striker, TK, I can't remember his name now, Cameroonian chap. But I mean, if we had won that match 3-4-1, I guess what's the word? It wouldn't have been what you might call what's what I'm looking for now? It wouldn't have flattered us as a result, but I mean, end up 1-1. I mean, we but going back to the Wolves match, I don't know how you can sort of those errors. I mean, from Vicario, from Bergville, and Bergville. I mean, I can't really blame the lad because I mean he's been one of the leading lights. A very, very tough season for us. And I mean, I always try to sort of look. It's tough being in the position we're in. I mean, it's unacceptable in terms of the outcomes we've had this season so far. But I just have this, call me an eternal optimist, if you want to call it that, right? But I'm not sure sacking Ange be the answer to our problems, because if we look at it this way, I mean, it's almost like a rinse and repeat. We had Mourinho one season, got to Europe. Next season is out. Had Conte one season, it takes us from 9th to Champions League. Next season is out. Now we have him. I mean, Ange. Ange is reasonably well in the first season, but this season has been abysmal as an understatement, right? However, of course, I mean that it has our own reasons for us being where we are at this point in time, and I'm not sure pulling the plug. Even if we don't win, I mean, I'll probably be like a lone voice in this, even if we don't win on Thursday, right? I mean, everyone's saying you must get a sack, it's out the door. But if you go to every, you go to his past history, if you want to call it that, right? He always has a very poor first season, right? And the second season wins something, right? Whatever that is. In every club it's been, apart from Celtic. I mean, I didn't win Celtic, he didn't win anything in his first season. He obviously won something in the second season. And he's always had this, what you might call, bad long stretches in his first season, and then the second season he gets it right. Now, this has been, I'm not sure any team has gone through the kind of injury blip we've gone through. Maybe Newcastle last season. I mean, when they obviously struggled as well, when they had this huge injury thing, and they were like,
who was injured against Wolves, Sophie?
Again?
Who was injured for Spurs when we played Wolves and got battered?
Oh no, I'm not talking about Wolves per se. I mean, I think what if you look at the Wolves match, of course, like I said, I mean a lot of the things had to do with individual errors. I mean, I wouldn't call one moment of brilliance from Wolves as being what let that match let them.
So when Bergvall holds on to the ball too long and gives away possession, and Bergvall quite often holds on to the ball too long, whose job is it to coach Bergvall to not hold on to the ball so long in key areas of the pitch and to release the ball? Whose job is it to coach him to do that? Because he still does it, even though he's been playing quite a lot of games. Who do we blame for not coaching Bergvall to release the ball?
Okay, so when ultimately someone's got to also take the hit for that. I mean, at the end of the day, it boils down to the coach, if you like. I mean, that's where the box stops. But the coach, no matter how much coaching you have, I mean, you're not going to cut out. You're not going to coach individual errors out of people in some cases. And it's hard.
Okay. So when a ball's played across our box and there's no one there to chase the runner, because the runner is Spence's player, but Spence is told to go up the pitch and invert, so he's got to run 80 yards back to mark the player that taps in the goal. Whose tactical fault of pushing the right back so high up without cover? Who do we blame for that?
Like I said, I mean, you got to blame. The buck starts at the coaches.
But you want to keep the coach. That's the bit I'm confused with.
Hold on a second. Let's get this right. You're going to find in every match, how do goals get scored? 3 ways. One, moment of brilliance from the opposition. You messed up either in terms of tactic, or you make an error from your play, or a mix of both. That's essentially what happens in most matches. Or you're a bit unlucky, maybe it bounces off of your keeper, or goes up. That's how.
So just focusing on the tactic part, then, why after 2 years has the tactic not fixed? Take your time.
Okay, sorry, I didn't hear that. Sorry. No. Sorry. What did you say? Say that again. Sorry.
You said one of the problems is the tactic. So after 2 years, when the tactic hasn't been fixed, who is that on?
Yeah, but I'm not sure there's something about tactics not being fixed. I mean,
you just said it's either individual error or tactic.
Listen, I'm saying that goals get scored. I mean, you concede goals for a variety of reasons. Tactics is just one of them. It could be, I'm not saying that in this case that he lost the match.
Out of the record-breaking 17 losses this season, how many would you say are down to the tactics?
I haven't done a survey. I mean, honestly, listen. Without a doubt, this is being.
Well, no, but you watch the games. You've got an idea. I mean, you watch the games. How many would you say are tactical? When we get caught high up on the pitch, one ball over the top, who do we blame? Do we blame the players for not being Usain Bolt and sprinting 100 miles an hour back? Or do we say, do you know what? Maybe we could just drop that defense a little bit deeper to stop that one ball splitting us open every single week, every single game. A bit like Frankfurt. Frankfurt's first goal. One ball over the top and they're in. I'm just asking questions. I'm not trying to call you out. I want to know what your answer is to these things, because I haven't been able to answer them myself other than to blame Ange. So if you've got a different outlook on this, I'd love to know.
I think so. I mean, you find that every team obviously has the way they play, right? And you find some managers get the players playing the way they want them to play very, very quickly, right? And other managers take some time before they get it finally right. I mean, and obviously you might have tweaks and changes across the board to get them to play the way you want them to play.
Well, it's been 2 years. It's been almost just over 700 days, almost 700 days. How much longer do you reckon do we need?
Honestly, for me, this is a blip of a season. It doesn't represent what I'll call. So I think the way I would, if I was Daniel Levy, I would not listen to the crowd. I wouldn't listen to everybody, because everybody wants a change right now.
He doesn't listen to us. He doesn't. So you're okay.
There's a lot of noise going on now that it will be very, very, very difficult for him not to pull the plug, even if he didn't want to. Honestly.
Sophie, Everton, they were in free fall, falling apart in a relegation battle. They changed the manager, no players were changed, and now Everton are above us. Wolverhampton Wanderers were in free fall, getting battered, getting torn to pieces. They changed the manager, no players were changed. They've won 4 in a row, and they just battered us. So why should we keep Ange when we lose every single week or every second game? Is there not enough? Is there not enough evidence to suggest when you're in complete free fall, and players are all now making individual errors? Is there not a point where you got to change the manager? Is there not a point where that comes?
All right, so I think let me spin that a little bit different issue for I think, and look at it from a different perspective, right? I know many Spurs fans, right, who said to me in the past, if we finish 17th in the league and win a cup, I'll take that, right? That's not me.
Yeah.
A lot of people have said, right? I said, look, finish 17th in the league, and I said to them, look, be careful what you wish for, because no one's going to have the patience for you finish 17th in the league and win a cup. You know? But guess what?
But we didn't wish for this. We didn't wish for this. I didn't wish for this. So okay. So let's go with what you said. I'm going to go with what you said. If Spurs don't win the Europa, if we lose on Thursday night, then we're going to finish 17th and no trophy.
Yeah.
So should he not be sacked then? At least if we lose on Thursday, should he not be sacked?
I don't think he should. And I'll tell you why.
Why? Why though? I don't understand the logic.
Let me finish, right? So my view is this, right? You have a blip of a season for a reason, and it's had this blip, and I know we've been playing injury, we've had tactical things, we've had all sorts of reasons for us being in the position we're in this season, right? But I think we have a chance for a reset at the beginning of next season, and I think it should see us through. Let's see. I mean, for me, there's no point in sacking him now, because we can't really do much better than what we're doing now. So it needs to have another preseason, right? One more window, right? And then let's start again. That's my view.
How did the last 3 windows work for us? How did the last 3 windows he's been given? How did the £400 million he spent work for us so far? You want to give him another 150 million?
I would actually.
Do you know what? You're allowed your opinion, man. I personally don't understand the logic of it. He's been given more money than any other manager we've ever had, and he's got the worst results of the lot. We were told that he's going to play this entertaining football. The football's atrocious. People are saying, actually, we wish we kept Conte now. And he hasn't developed a single player to justify giving him more money to not develop even more players. What has he done to deserve? What progression, what forward momentum have you seen to say, do you know what? I can see something. Let's just give it a bit of time. What has he shown you to deserve that? Because clearly we disagree. But what has he shown you for you to say, just give him a pre-season, just give him another transfer window, you know?
So there's a lot of history behind teams who have kept their managers. How do I put it now?
Who?
Hold on. Let me. When Sir Alex got to Man United, right? It took him 3 seasons, and he nearly got the sack until Mark Robbins. You know. Now,
Sophie, do you know where Sir Alex Ferguson finished in his 2nd season for Manchester United? Do you know?
Listen, the fact of the matter was that he didn't win. He didn't win in his 1st season. He didn't win in his 2nd
Sophie,
season.
but do you know where he finished in his 2nd season at Man United?
Where the finish is irrelevant in this case. What I'm saying
No, it's not, because it's progression. He finished 2nd. Man United were the runners-up of the league in Sir Alex Ferguson's 2nd season. The year before, they finished 11th. That is massive progression. He put credit in the bank. He took them forward. Ange has taken us from 5th to 17th. You can't compare him to Sir Alex Ferguson. Sir Alex Ferguson with Aberdeen in a duopoly league, only Celtic and Rangers win the trophies in Scotland. He took over Aberdeen. They won everything, the league, the cup. He won a European trophy beating Bayern Munich and Real Madrid with Aberdeen. Sir Alex Ferguson joined Man United as a very, very highly proven manager against some of the best teams in world football. Ange's claim to fame is winning a Scottish league where there's only 2 teams in it and winning some Japanese trophy and some other trophy with some Australian team. How can we compare Sir Alex to Ange? How can we do that?
Hold on. Had Sir Alex won in Premier League before that? He won in Scotland. Okay, he won the European Cup, fine, but he won in Scotland. He was playing in
It's
Scottish
not
League.
fine. He beat Bayern Munich and Real Madrid. It's not fine. That is amazing. That is phenomenal. They're the 2 biggest clubs in world football. He beat them both with Aberdeen. That's like saying Crystal Palace go and win the Champions League. Do you know what that means? It's insane. He did it, though. He did it. As a manager, he did it. That's why Man United hired him, because he was arguably an elite manager in the making. So when fans say things like, there's moments in history where when you give a manager time, it works. Those managers had pedigree. Ange doesn't have pedigree. That's the difference. That's why we're 17th, because he doesn't know what to do when the chips, when the going gets tough. He doesn't know what to do. So Alex did. He knew what to do.
Right, Stel. Let's bring in Mark and move this on, and we'll go back to Alex Ferguson. Mark. Now, Ange said after the game that we performed okay, right? He said we performed okay. I mean, I don't know what game he was watching. I mean, we are getting worse and worse the more the season goes on. What's going on, Mark? What's the matter with this team, in your opinion, mate?
Well, the manager's the problem as far as on the pitch is concerned, right? That's obviously, to our own eyes, we can see that. We know there's mass problems in the club at all different levels, right? But if we're talking about football, what a shit show that was on Sunday. I mean, I can't bring the pictures up, but we've all seen the pictures of the various moments during the game where we was 4-on-2 again. Centre forwards running into penalty areas with 20 yards round them. I mean, there's only one person that's setting that up, and that's the manager. Now, I don't know what I can say that hasn't already been said, but to me, now we are getting to the point of high incompetency that needs to be nipped in the bud by the hierarchy above, and should have been, in my opinion, a long time ago. Now, I sat and watched the game on Sunday, and I had Sava's watch along in my ear roll at the same time. And I think it was just beyond belief to everyone what was going on the pitch. I mean, I've got an instance that I can tell you. I don't know if any of you have seen this. Now, there was one instance where, I don't know if you remember, Basuma and Maddison were not messing about, but interchanging with the ball. And Basuma had that shot from about 25 yards, 20 yards, just outside the box, and the keeper parried it away. If you watched, as that progressed, there was 4 or 5 more passes after Maddison had finished what he was doing with Basuma. Who do you think ended up as our centre half? Why all that was going on? James Maddison. James Maddison was the one who jogged back because there was no one at centre half in case that ball broke down. I had to watch it a couple of times to see if I was seeing right. You know, how can that be right? How is our attacking midfielder going back towards the centre spot and ends up there when we're attacking? Please tell me, because to me, that is beyond logic, the same as whether you're having a bad game or not. Your front three are doing nothing and taking off your attacking midfielder in the 77th minute when you need a goal. To me, that's just like the manager's watching a different game to everyone else. That's just an instance. You know, the marking was shambolic. And to be quite honest with you, I don't mind, I'll say it now. There were certain players on that pitch, certain senior players on that pitch that weren't giving it their all. I'll tell you that now, because I was shocked. I was really shocked because, again, Wolves didn't really have to do a lot to beat us. It weren't like they were so impressive. You know, all 4 goals were from mistakes. Fine, right? You know, I can't say it happens 4 times in one game regularly every week, but it's happened. So we can put that on mistakes. But when you watch the breakdown of the goals after that, it's shocking. It's under 10 defending. It's just ridiculous. You know, we come up with the saying, square pegs in round holes. There was another instance. There was a photo frame of a picture that I've seen. And do you know there were 7 Tottenham Hotspur players in that picture and not one of them was in their correct position. They was all inverted into this, you know, defenders in midfield, midfielders in defence. I just don't get it. I don't see why we can't just go back to playing football again. I just don't understand it. And please, anyone who does understand it, please help me out with it, because I just don't get it. I really don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get why he's still in the job. Yeah, it was shocking. It was shocking. I think that was the first time Wolves have scored 4 goals since, I think, was it January 2019? And look who they do it against. It's crazy. Yeah. Now, Nige, the trouble is no one's really surprised about that result, are they? But did you think it would be that bad, that performance there? Because that was got to be one of the worst, isn't it, of the season? And there's been many.
You know what? I feel like we say that every week. I feel like every single week we say, that's the worst performance I've seen Spurs play. And then the next week comes and we say exactly the same thing. I wasn't surprised. I expected maybe a little bit more fight, but I wasn't surprised by the result at all. And I mean, I'll keep it short and sweet. People talk about facts over feelings. The facts say that Ange is our worst ever manager in history. Feelings tell me that because of Ange, I feel numb to this club now. He has to go this week. He has to go.
Well, yeah, if we get knocked out on Thursday, yeah, we're going to be talking about that a little bit later. Now, Stel, in your opinion, how and why have performances got so bad under Ange? Now, the defending on Sunday was horrific. But that performance, it was just a carbon copy of Ange's Spurs, right? This is what we've been doing all season. Still, I think you're on mute.
Sorry, mate. Because he's an average manager, he's not dynamic enough, and he's not capable of adapting enough. He's tried adapting a bit. He's tried being dynamic, but I don't think he's comfortable doing it. I think he does it more because he feels forced to, rather than actually doing it because he really wants to. And it doesn't work because he's not of that nature. And he's exposed. We've been found out. Teams know how to play against Spurs. How many times do we lose a game and then managers and players come out and say, yeah, we knew what to do when we played Spurs today. We've seen how they play. You've heard it too many times. That's a bad indictment on our manager. And look, it's multi-layers, mate. It's multi-layers. First of all, the fans need to hold themselves accountable because they come up with this these stupid little sayings that are just they're taglines, just some fake positivity bullshit to jump on. We can't keep sacking managers. We can't keep. You can if you've backed the wrong horse. You should have said that when Conte was here. If fans said that when Conte was here, I'd get it because he's proven. If they said that before Mourinho got sacked before a cup final against Pep, and at the time Mourinho was the only manager, I believe, that had beaten Pep in a cup final, that would have made sense. But they say it for the wrong manager. So rather than saying we can't keep sacking managers and, you know, fight for keeping Poch or fight for keeping Conte, they do it now when we've got the worst manager of the lot. Now they want to back the manager. So the fans have got to take a long, hard look at themselves on this one as well, because they're the ones that peddled all this. Ange ball's the best. If we sign Tel, he fixes our problems. Odebert suits the system. Solanke's pressing game will be a game changer. Absolute bollocks. The whole thing was insane. So fans need to take a look at themselves for that fake positive energy that they pushed out there, and they just weren't realistic. Then you've got to look at Ange himself. He says one thing, he does the other. He tells fans, just feel how you want. And then when we show him how we feel, oh, I've got a problem with the fans. Well, you told us to show you how we feel. We feel that this is shit. What do you want us to do? Then he's blaming parents for not being at games, and kids are filming him, and someone's got to coach these kids. Someone's got to teach them in life. Mate, stop trying to be everyone's dad and coach the players. They need coaching, right? Then you got the coaches. They're not good enough. Mason, Jedinak. You know, who are these people? Like, what have they done? And you've got the owners who just haven't got a clue what they're doing. They jump on the latest fashionable trending bullshit just to try and make fans feel happy. They suck everyone in, you know. We've got our Tottenham back and everyone clapped. Have we fuck? Have we fuck? So the whole thing stinks, Dan. The board of directors need to go. The owners need to sell up. Lange is an absolute shadow of what Paratici was. Shadow of the man. An abomination of a recruitment officer. He needs to go. The coaches need to go. The manager needs to go. He's lost the fans. He's lost the players. The whole thing needs a reset. I agree with Sophie where he says changing the manager isn't going to fix it. It will fix it to a point, but then we will be back here because we're still stuck with these owners because they're not going to change. So he's got a point there, but Ange's made it worse. And keeping him will get us relegated, in my view. We're lucky there's 3 worse teams than us. So we are where we are because, as I said 1 year ago when we signed Timo Werner for the second time, I'm so glad that video is on the internet. I predicted this would happen. I said at some point, whether it's 3 months into the season, 6 months towards the end, the wheels will come flying off and everyone will realize that this project is dead. There was never a plan. And by signing Timo Werner for a second time, that was all the evidence you needed. That was the confirmation that nothing's changed. We're going to go down the same stupid path we always do. The only thing I feel a little bit sorry for Ange on is that I genuinely believe he wants what's best for Tottenham and he genuinely wants us to be winners and he wants the culture to change. I do believe he wants that, but unfortunately, he's not the man to do it. His heart is in the right place, but his brain he's out of his depth, man. He's got the heart, but he hasn't got it up there for the level we need for the pressure that is Spurs. And he's kind of paid the price of 25 years of this building up. This day was going to come at some point. It should have happened when Poch got sacked. It should have 100% happened when Mourinho got sacked before a cup final. But fans procrastinated, they delayed, they allowed it to carry on. Anyone who was leaving out was toxic and negative. Yeah, okay, sure. Now look. So I feel a little bit sorry for him, but yeah, man, he's not the right manager. He's not. But it's not just him. There's so many issues, Dan. And you see it on the pitch. Fans are fucking arguing with each other. Players look rejected. The manager looks out of his depth. The chairman, he's a coward, an absolute coward of a chairman. Why is Mason still at the club? What has Mason ever done? It's a sympathy vote because he got a head injury. Oh, because he had an injury in his life. Let's just keep him at the club so we can fail a bit more. All of it, Dan. Fans, coaches, managers. Fuck it. Blame the sponsors. AIA. I don't want red on the kit. I fucking blame them as well. It makes us feel negative. Every time I see red on the kit, I feel shit about my club. I blame the sponsors as well. I don't want red on the kit.
But Stel and everybody on the panel, did you really think it would be this awful? I didn't predict this bad myself. I mean, what? Oh, what do you think?
I said
Stel?
the wheels
Why?
would come off. The
But
videos
this
on
bad?
Real Time TV. I said the wheels are gonna. Not this bad, no. Not this bad, no. No. I didn't think it would be a look. If Ipswich, Southampton, and who's the other team down there? Southampton, Ipswich, and one other team. Can't remember.
Leicester.
Leicester, right? If they weren't as atrocious as they've been, 100% we're getting relegated this year. We will finish 17th this year, in my opinion. We will finish 17th. I predicted anywhere between 10th and 8th. That's what I said to start the season. I said 10th and 6th, something like that. I don't think any of us said, 17th. Yeah, we'll just avoid the drop. It's pretty bad.
Look, what game we winning out of that lot? I can't see us winning any of them.
If we lose to Frankfurt on Thursday night, okay, if we lose to Frankfurt on Thursday night, I don't see us winning another game this season because the players have got nothing to play for. They don't need to prove themselves so that they are in the starting team for the semi-final of the Europa Cup. They won't be fighting for places in that semi-final because they're all going to want to be playing in that game. Well, if you're out of the competition, they don't have to prove anything. They don't have to fight to survive because we're not getting relegated. They don't have to fight for Europe because it's almost mathematically impossible to get into Europe. They have got nothing to play for. Nothing. So you're going to see performances get even worse. The manager will be completely... I'm not going to say out of ideas, but he'll be so demoralized within. He'll be broken. So you're going to have a broken manager. The coaches will be like, shit, what can we do? The players will have nothing to play for. Zero. There's nothing to prove. It's just going to get worse. If we lose to Frankfurt, it will get... Mate, it's going to be ugly. It's going to get very ugly. And you can see it. The protests are going to ramp up. It's going to get toxic in the stadium. Levy's going to be under ridiculous pressure again. The whole thing's going to be horrible, man. It's going to be just crap supporting this club. That's what's going to happen if we go out. And there's a good chance we probably do go out. I know we're going to talk about it, but if we beat Frankfurt, we might win some league games because they're going to be wanting to be in that starting 11 for the semi-final. They're going to want to prove themselves. So you never know. If we lose, we're not winning another game this season.
I actually slightly disagree. Only if we do lose and Ange gets sacked, I think there's a chance we might have a little bounce and maybe win a couple of games. But I certainly don't see us winning many. But it all depends
I agree with you.
Gets sacked or not.
Nige, 100% I agree because we're going to want to prove themselves to the new manager. Yeah. I was basing it on if Ange stays. I've got a funny feeling they're going to keep Ange to the end of the season, no matter what happens.
Well, Mark, what's your thoughts on those fixtures? I just can't see us winning any of them, to be honest. Even if we were out, we go through or we get knocked out. Look at those teams. Maybe West Ham because they're terrible as well, but we ain't got a great record at their stadium, have we, really? Everything's a struggle, mate. What do you think?
Yeah, it's just, I think Stel's hit the nail on the head, really, and Nige to a degree. You can't see us winning another game if we go out Thursday, unless he's outed and they get another manager in, and that manager bounce. But, I said it, and I hope I'm wrong. I've got this horrible feeling they're going to keep him even longer. I think he's going to get the start of next season at least. And I so hope I'm wrong, Stel, all of you. I really do. But I've just got this feeling because if he's kept him this long, right, and if he's risking Europa League with this manager, Levy mustn't give a toss, mate. He can't give a toss because surely after 18 months, he's in the stand watching it every game. He must be aware of the stats. You're not telling me he's not. And it's just so poor. It's so poor. I mean, I don't know, Dale. I don't know what to. I just can't. Again, I can't see us winning a game on the way we've been performing, especially over the last few weeks. I'm not even sure, like I said, that there's a lot of, or some of the senior players I don't think are even playing for him, mate, to be honest with you. That's how it looks to me, but I could be totally wrong. It's just my view and opinion.
No, you're not wrong, mate. We're shocking. You're not wrong at all. Now, anybody want to say anything more about that Wolves game before we move on? Because it was just, what more can we say? We've said it all. We've heard it all. We've all
Dan,
discussed it.
Do you know, there is one thing I do want to say. Certain players have got way too much stick, because I'll give an example. The first goal, Vicario. Okay, cool. But when you slow it down and watch it again, let's start with the initial problem. Why is Pape Sarr giving away a free kick in a dangerous place in the first minute of the game? Why can't I just stand his ground and jockey? Right, that's the first thing. So Pape Sarr's to blame for giving away a free kick in a dangerous area. Then, yeah, Vicario should be catching it or parrying it wide. He punches it into a dangerous area. But why is there 2 Wolves players standing on the edge of the box unmarked? We had 8 Spurs players defending against 5 Wolves players. So we got 3 spare men in a defensive line. What, 1 or 2 of them can't go out and mark the players on the edge of the box? So that's the third problem. So you've got Sarr, you've got Vicario, you've got no defenders edge of the box. And then you've got Ben Davies in the way of Vicario when he's trying to save it. So I look at it and I think, we've all blamed Vicario, and he deserves blame. He does. But why is Pape Sarr not being called out? Why aren't the centre-backs pushing out not being called out? Why is Ben Davies in the fucking way of Vicario? And you know what? If you look at all the goals from the moment the problem began, I think every goal you could blame 3 or 4 players. Different ones as well. I know Bogle lost the ball. He lost the ball. But Ben Davies misses his slide challenge. He missed his slide tackle as well. He needs to be called out. Where's the wing backs to recover? They're out of shape. They're out of position. It's
all
really
over
frustrating,
the pitch now, isn't it? It's
everywhere.
mistakes all over the pitch. Yeah, it's finished. It's finished. All the players, they're not themselves.
It's what Cookie Master said at the start, right? You could take a screenshot of Spurs when a team's attacking us, and you can count 6 or 7 players out of position. The number 10 Madison's playing as the 6, the wing back's playing as the 10, the centre back's playing out wide, the other centre back's a wing back, the number 8's tucked into the centre back. Solanke, I don't know where he is. I don't know what he does. I mean, if you want to get into him, we can. I don't know what he brings to the team. But you just look at it and you think, does anyone actually play in their position and sticks to it and gets to just play how they need to be playing? But
and guys, look, I know we can call out the players, but look, particularly on that day against Wolves, Solanke's a problem again for me. He's all over the place. He's running all over the place. Why isn't he just sticking in the box to try and get on the end of something?
I can't even answer it.
Look, he's been doing it all season. He's all over the pitch. You look at his heat maps, most games. He needs to be in the box, but this is an instruction where the Ange should be calling this out and saying, Solanke, stay in the box. Yeah, get on the end of something. But he's running all over the place, and he's just so ineffective.
People say he doesn't get service, right? People say he doesn't get service. Well, how did Richarlison score a goal? How did Tel score a goal? How did they get on the end of the ball?
Exactly.
How does Brennan Johnson get all the tap-ins he scores? It's almost as if everyone that scores for Spurs gets service, but Solanke doesn't. I agree with you. His positioning is dog shit.
But is that under instruction, do you think, Tel? As in, like, you know what Dan was saying about, like, he's coming deeper, he's running around like a lunatic. Now, surely your centre forward is, especially someone of Solanke's presence, he's quite a big lad. You know, we need someone in the box to be putting chances away. Now, we know when it comes from the other side, we've got Mr. BJ running in to tuck him in. Fine. But why is he not playing as a centre forward? Why is he trying to, you know, it's almost like he's trying to be Harry Kane-esque, dropping off, doing this, doing that, doing the other. Why can he not just be that centre forward still? Why is he doing what he's doing?
he's never been that centre forward in all his life. He's only ever scored more than double digits once at Brighton, at Bournemouth. Sorry, look, I went and looked at his career. He played for England under 16s, 18s, 21s. He played for Chelsea, Liverpool, Bournemouth. He played for a team, I think he was in Austria, and he's at Spurs. He's never, ever, ever been more than average, other than that 1 year at Bournemouth. And in the air, he's not good in the air. Out of the 36 Premier League goals he's ever scored, only 6 were headers. Only 18% of his goals come from headers. So when people say get balls in the box, get what for? Listen, he's a hard-working average striker. That's what he is. He's a hard-working average striker, and we've dropped 60 million quid on him because his wages are cheap. And you know what? You can't get wages back. Once you pay them, you can't get the wages back, but you can sell a player on and get some money back. So Spurs would rather spend more money on transfer fees than wages. Well, like anything in life, if you pay for cheap staff, you're going to get, pretty basic skills. And that's what we've got with Solanke. Listen, we tried to replace the Brazilian Richarlison with the English version, but Richarlison's better. His stats are better. Richarlison has scored more goals than Solanke per game ratio.
Yeah.
Richarlison's average per season is like 13 goals, 14 goals, something like that. Solanke isn't that. I think Solanke's nicer on the ball. He's a more tidier player. But I don't know. I'm a bit old-fashioned. If you sign a striker, I think the number one thing you should be measured on is goals. Otherwise, don't call him a striker. Call him a midfielder. Call him a winger. Call him a playmaker. Call him someone that links up the play. I don't know. But if you're a striker, your job is to strike the ball and put it in the back of the net, surely.
Yeah.
Do you remember, Stel, when you came on the show the first time? I can't remember exactly when, but there was a massive hype about Solanke. And you were like, like, come on, let's see. And we're near the end of the season now. And what's that? 7 Premier League goals?
Yeah. Look, Dan. Some of us that said, "Can we all calm down and just see what happens? Can we all still get carried away with every signing we make and just see what happens?" Because a lot of us for the last 3, 4, 5 years have said these transfer windows are very underwhelming. Is this what we really need? Is this going to fix the problem? We were expecting big things. We were told this game-changing stadium, and we're gonna be much more better positioned than the other clubs because we've got the best FFP and the best PSR. We positioned ourselves so that it won't impact us. All these new financial league and FIFA regulations, and the money we're going to make is going to really push us on. And none of the transfers have suggested that. Yeah, we spend more money, but look what we spend it on. And we said it. These are the things we said. I've never once made a video of a new player saying, this is what this player is going to bring to us. I've always said, can we wait and see what happens? The only player I said I'm really happy we got, I'm really, really happy we signed him, was Basuma. Okay. I'm happy to hold my hands and say, you know what? I got that one wrong. I can admit I got that wrong. I really thought we were going to have a player there. But I'm still not convinced he's had a proper manager at Spurs, because that works for him. Because at Brighton, he had Caicedo, and then he had the other number 6 before Caicedo came. He always had a 6 behind him, and he played more as an 8. Whereas at Spurs, he plays in a deeper role that doesn't suit him. So I don't think we've really got the best out of him. But he hasn't developed either. As an individual player, he hasn't matured. So, but all the other players we've signed, I've always said, let's just wait and see what happens. And so far, no one's really blown me away. I mean, some players have improved, like Bergvall. Yeah, he's got better. There's no doubt. Spence has really shone this year, but none of them blow me away. No, I don't look at any Spurs player and say, what a player. Whereas I used to say that. I used to say that with some of the players Redknapp had, some of the players that Martin Joel used to have, a lot of the players Poch had, even Even when Mourinho and Conte were here, we said, fucking hell, Kane and Son, they're the dogs bogs. What an elite partnership we've got. Absolutely mustard. Now, there's not one player at Spurs I look at and I say, yeah. And even when we were shit in the 90s, there was players we said, fucking hell, he's good though, isn't it? Luckily, we got that one really good player there. There was a Sheringham, there was a Klinsmann, there was a Gaza. Now we got what we got. And we said this. This is exactly what we said. We said this, and we were told it's not about talent, it's not about players, it's about systems. It's about the system. They suit the system. Solanke's pressing game, Odebert's crosses, Timo's a good dribbler. All this, it suits the system. Absolute bollocks. It was an absolute con. And we sat there and we said this, exactly what we said. And all I ever heard from fans on my channel was, you just wait and see when Ange wins the double. You wait and see when we lift the cup. I can't wait for it. I will be here. I will remind you, Stelios. We will be here when Ange proves you wrong. They've all disappeared. They've all disappeared. None of them. Where are they? Where are those people? Poison, toxic. I got called every name under the sun. Ange is going to prove me wrong. And I said, we haven't got the players to prove me wrong. The system isn't all that. Anyway, look, Dan.
It's all right. I was going to go.
We said this stuff a long time ago, and unfortunately, that's exactly how it's panned out. And as a Spurs fan, do you know what upsets me the most about being a Spurs fan right now? It's not even that we're shit, and it's not even that we're going nowhere and we're rudderless and Levy doesn't give a damn. It's the fact that the fucking gooners, who are friends of mine, they don't even cuss me anymore. They genuinely feel sorry for me. They say to me, you know what? I can't even pick on you anymore, Stel. How do you do it? How the fuck do you support them? Mate, they want to cry for me. Mate, that hurts me more than anything else, that they pity me. They pity me. It's awful, man. It's tragic. It's such a tragedy.
Oh, mate, honestly. Let me
Sorry,
come
man.
in now.
A rant was coming at some point tonight. It was coming at some point.
It was, because I did a video yesterday of just how like dejected I am at the moment. This season is the worst I can remember. Consistently bad. It is so bad. It is this season, man. It is, and it's just, you can't even celebrate a goal. You just know that any game we're going to lose. I mean, what sort of feeling is this as a fan? It's not acceptable. It's not acceptable to just completely.
If I gave you a Spurs shirt, Dan, if I gave you a Spurs shirt tomorrow, I went to the club shop, spent £100 however much he's ripping everyone off for, and I bought you a Spurs jersey, and I said, Dan, you get this for free on one condition. You've got to pick a current player that we've got to put on the back of the shirt. Who are you picking? Who are you really picking to put on the back of your shirt and walk down the high street? Yeah. Waddle, Hoddle, Gaza, Moussa Dembele, Kane. Yeah, who are you putting on your shirt right now?
Johnson again, ole.
I mean, Mark, let's bring you in, Mark. Evening to you, Sheriff. Thanks for coming on. I've got a question for you. So who's disappointed you most? Who's disappointed you the most, Mark, this season, player-wise? It could be a new signing. It could be an existing player. Who's really let you down this season and you just thought? And also, when you answer that question, how much is that down to Ange, in your opinion?
No, see, yeah. When you first said it, I don't think there's not really anybody that's let me down. It's just that they're all played out of bloody position. They're not giving their best. Look what a player Basuma was when he was at Brighton. When he had the right players around him and he was allowed to do his stuff. He's terrible now. Now he's with us. And to me, that is because he's not being coached right. I've told you, I've said it on mine and Cookie's channels. I've said it on every channel I get invited on. Johnson and Son are not wingers. They never have been. Son was never a winger. Johnson was never a winger at Forest. They were inside forwards. They were like, when Son was in his pomp with Kane, he was never a winger. He was the one with the pace that ran on the flick-ons. All right, Harry developed his game and fed him through it and that. But that is why Kane and Son have got the highest assist rate in the league. You know, he was never a winger. Ever. Ever. And nor was Johnson at Forest. You go back and watch him, he was never a winger.
So Mark, who's been the most disappointing player? Just to go back.
Well, they all bloody have. But that is only because of the way their coach played. They're all played out of bloody position. There's not one of them that the manager says, right, you know, I'll play you to your strengths. Not one. Not one. And to me, I've been saying it for ages now. It's the manager. This manager, right now I'm mid-50s. I don't mind saying my age. I'm mid-50s. Right, this manager is the worst I've ever seen. And I saw us get bloody relegated. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So,
you know, 1976, 7, whenever it was, I saw us get bloody relegated. Right, it was Keith Birkinshaw that we got relegated with, but he was only picking up the mess that Terry O'Neill left us in. You know, so it was inevitable at one stage we were going down, and it's just unfortunate on the General's record that it was in that took us down. But we came straight back up. We made a couple of, you know, half sensible signings, Ozzy and Ricky. 3 years later, after coming up, we won the bloody FA Cup. 2 years running, I might add. 2 years running. I saw that. I can remember it. This is the first time in my life, and I'm not bothered about watching us. I'm not bothered anymore. Even if we score, it's like, oh, well, we'll concede 2 in a minute.
Mark, remember when we left the other week to get the train back and we walked past White Hart Lane and the game was still going on? We couldn't hear a pin drop, could we? There was nothing. It was silence. We heard the referee's whistle more than we heard any fans.
We walked from the coach and horses to White Hart Lane train station. We heard the referee's whistle, and there was a cheer at one stage because I said, someone scored, you know, and we looked on our phones, you know, but like, honestly, I've been to the lane when I was a kid, the old White Hart Lane, and it's been banging in there, absolutely banging. The noise, well, put it this way, the old stadium, roughly, don't shoot me down, had 50% capacity of the new ground, maybe 55, 60, but 50%'s near enough. They used to make twice the noise that the new ground makes. Twice the noise. I stood on the shelf back in the day, and if the players weren't doing very well, Jesus, they knew about it. Jesus, they knew about it. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Christ, yeah. I stood on the shelf.
Mark, do you know what it is, right? And my friend, do you guys know Cheyenne? Do you guys know Cheyenne?
I met him still at the mill. Okay,
so when I first started Tottenham away with Brian, it was also Cheyenne.
I remember.
So Shai's a fantastic coach. Like, he wins everywhere he coaches. He got me into coaching. He coached me. And he's got a real brain on him. His dad is outstanding when it comes to coaching and management. That's where he gets it from. Anyway, I digress. Shine was saying to me the other day, because he's good at making these really good points. It's a shame he's still not on YouTube. He'd be fantastic for it. He said to me, the worst thing about Spurs right now is the fans are just numb. They don't care. They don't care if we win, lose. They don't even cheer goals because what's the point? When the fans don't care, what have you got left? Because without fans, you don't have a club. So if the fans don't care, yeah, you might have a club that you can touch. Like, I'm touching the stadium, I'm touching the seats. But if the fans don't care, you don't have a club anymore. And that's where we're at. That's why you don't hear anything.
That's what Bill Nick said.
There's nothing left.
I believe that's what Bill Nick said, Stel. Bill Nick said that. Without the fans, we're nothing.
So why aren't more people protesting then?
Because they're nothing.
Aren't more
I don't know.
because
know,
it's I don't understand it because how many was there at the last one? How many people? 2,000 possibly.
Yeah, but there's obviously too many fans, Dan, that are happy with what they're seeing.
This is what I don't
Obviously.
understand. They're not singing in the ground, so then why are they not singing outside in the protests, getting involved?
I don't know, mate.
You know, at the protest the other week, I don't know. There were so many people on the pavement that were filming us. They were filming us protesting. So, they've all got Spurs shirts on and they're all, whatever they're doing, going in to watch the game. So they obviously haven't got any grievance about it because they was quite happily standing on the sidewalk filming everyone with their banners when we were standing outside the ground. I don't understand it.
Mark, you can't say it on here. What did you say to me when we were walking down the high road?
I can't say that on here, mate.
What the beep, 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 are these beep, 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 beep,
Yeah, I did.
standing there filming rather than joining?
Yeah, I did.
Look, man, the problem you've got is I don't want to say cowards because that's a bit harsh. There are some cowards, right? There are some YouTubers that talk about Levy, Enoch, but yet they won't come to a protest, but they'll come and film it for their channel, right? Not going to mention names. You can guess what I'm talking about. But there's a lot of fans that know this is wrong. They know there's a problem, but there's something holding them back from taking action. And the only thing I could think of is that they're scared of being on TV. They're scared of being on social media. They don't want to be associated with it because they're worried what people will think of them. But here's the thing. If you love your club, if you genuinely love the club and you want to see it back to where it once was, which was a team that did compete, that were the kings of the cup, that were, a team that won a trophy every 5 years or 2 every 10, that's what we were. If you want at least that, you got to fight for it because otherwise you're waving the white flag. You've surrendered the club. And once we're gone, the next generation, they won't have anything about them to put up the fight. They won't have it in them because they've been conditioned to believe that Spurs is a club that doesn't win trophies. They've been conditioned to believe that Spurs is, just be grateful for what you've got. Look at the stadium. Look at the financials. That's success. They're being programmed that way. Once we're gone, they won't know that there's actually history behind the club. They won't know that we were actually a great footballing team. They will all be gone. So I don't understand these fans, why they accept it, why they do it, other than it must be fear. It must be that they're scared. They're scared to they're scared of being associated with it. Maybe their friends will look down at them. Maybe their friends will say, "Oh my God, you went to the protest." Oh, it's a bit strange, isn't it? Maybe they're under pressure. They're socially weak. Is that fair? Is that a bit unfair? Something's not right because there's no way. Because you go in the stadium, everyone's happy to boo when we're losing. Everyone's happy to chant, "We want Levy out." But where are you when it comes to the protest? Where are those same people? Or maybe they haven't got time in their lives. Maybe, do you know what? I love Spurs, but it's not a big enough part of my life to want to do something about it. It is what it is. It's just something I do just to pass the time when I'm not at work. Whereas for other people, football's quite a big part of their life. It takes up a lot of their time. It's a hobby. It's what they do with a lot of their spare time. They YouTube, they podcast, they listen to podcasts, they go home, they go away. They're up to date with all the latest information. And, this pundit said that. And did you see what Ali Gold said? And Fabrizio Romano said, there's some people that are bang on it. Maybe the modern day Spurs fan isn't quite like that. Just maybe they're just not that type of fan anymore, which is sad if true. Because then we are fucked. We are absolutely fucked because we won't have the numbers to
stadium. The new stadium doesn't help either for me. Yes, it's massive. Yes, it's beautiful to look at. Yes, it brings in a shed load of money. But with the old stadium, White Hart Lane, if you were going to the football, you were going to the football. Now, for a lot of people, it's just a day out. Let's go look at the stadium. Let's take lots of pictures. The couple of times I've been this season, you know, behind people that, like you say, quite happy to boo, but actually after the game, they're like, let's just go downstairs and get drunk. You know, instead of let's go out of the stadium, they're quite happy to go downstairs and spend more money at the Levy Bowl. Whereas before, it was first and foremost, it was a football stadium. Now it's an entertainment venue. Spurs are just secondary, really.
Look, you've got Chris Cowlin, yeah? How many followers has he got? 100,000, 160,000? Massive following, massive. He should be pumping out promotions for the protest. He should be saying, get down there, get involved. We can't keep going on like this. And he should be mixing it with us and getting all his followers on board, and we can get some real numbers. Look, what one guy I've had back and forth in the past because he never did it, and I always called him out on it, and I always said to him, mate, this isn't on. You can't keep doing this. You can't keep moaning and not taking action. And for years and years, I kept banging the drum, and, you know, we had a bit of back and forth. But credit to him. Credit to him. Ricky Sachs has been to the last two protests. He's been promoting it on his platform, on his podcast. He's been really trying to push it. And he's at that point where he said, you know what? We've got to do something.
See his interview on Sky, Stel.
He said everything I've been saying for years, but I'm happy he said it because it puts it into the public domain now. So it's excellent that he said it. It's excellent. But we need the Chris Cowlins to do that. We need the Fighting Cock. You know, these people go on Talk Sport and Sky Sports regular. The Spurs representation that we've got on Sky Sports, on Talk Sport, the regulars, they're not doing it. They're not doing it. They're not promoting the protest. They're not putting their heart and their passion when they deliver the message of enough is enough. They just say, well, you know what? There's a divide at the club. Some understand that Levy's done a great job. Others aren't happy with it. Get off the fence. Stop being a fake pundit. You're a Spurs fan and fight for change. But they don't do it. Cowlin hasn't got the cojones. Flav hasn't got the cojones. At least Ricky Sachs said, you know what? I've got some cojones. Fair play to him, man. Fair play to the guy. We need everyone doing that. At the moment, we don't have it. We don't have that. We're just... It's difficult. It's really difficult. If this was Man United, Arsenal, Chelsea, the whole fan base would be united. All the Man United platforms get to the Glazers out protest. Everyone get down there and let's tear this a new one. Enough's enough. We've got a lot of channels. They won't touch it, man. They think we're extreme. They think we're harsh to want some kind of change at the top because they think that no, the owners they can still get it right. When? It's been 25 years. We're drifting further away. Villa are ahead of us. Bournemouth are ahead of us. Fulham are ahead of us. Forest. Mate, we're being overtaken left, right, and centre. We're not going to be in Europe
as well.
No, there's no Europe if we don't.
Yeah, if you remember, Stel, all those teams you just mentioned, they were in the Championship a few years ago. You know what I'm saying? It's not that long ago.
It's unacceptable, man. And we pay the highest prices.
Yeah.
But this Chris Cowlin, man, he's the one for me, which I just don't understand. Like when I went on to his show and questioned him about why doesn't he challenge, he didn't have an answer. And it was easier for him to kick me off, you know, than answer the question. Like he's doing it because he gets the special access. He's probably worried that if he starts getting involved with the protests and, you know, being seen to push it, that he will lose all that access. But what's more important, the club doing well or him getting behind the scenes access? Guys.
He does videos after we lose. I'm frustrated. I'm really frustrated. You know, it's really becoming tiresome. Stop moaning then. You moan about the problem, but you do nothing about the problem. And he's been moaning for 5 years. It's not just him. There's others. You've got the Ben Bowmans, the Mitches, all the regulars, the Sunny Talk Spurs, all the regulars. Anyone who's a Spurs fan, who's on Talks. By the way, I don't think any of these people are horrible people, by the way. I don't think they're like, you know, they're assholes, they're bastards. No, they're probably decent people. If you sat down, had a beer with them, I bet you could have a good chat. But when it comes to Spurs and them not being on board with wanting change, I just don't understand where they're going with it. And they are the only ones who get the regular gigs on Talk Sport and Sky Sports. So just maybe they've become media puppets. They're part of a media cartel. And they're, just like Ange has got to say all the right things. Maybe they've been trained and coached that way as well. And that's how they get the gigs. Because, if any of us here were invited on Talk Sport or Sky Sports, we're going to blow it up. We're going to say exactly as it is. And maybe they just don't want that. Maybe that's not what they want. So do you call it a sellout? Do you call it, or do they really think that Levy isn't the problem and that, Levy should stay a bit longer, or maybe, but if they do, what are they basing it on? Because it's getting worse. Like, look, we get rid of Ange, new guy comes in. We know in 18 months' time we're going to be in trouble again. We know it because he's not going to get the players. He's not going to get the backing. Backing isn't money spent; it's the quality of players. We know that the next guy at some point won't be able to push us more than top 4. That'll be his limit. We'll be back here again because we won't be happy with top 4. Like, we've seen top 4. I don't want top 4. I want us to get into finals and win them. But it's just us. It's us, and a couple of other channels that fight for it.
But still, some of these names, what you just mentioned, some of them are like following the wind. Do you know what I mean? Suddenly, they changed their opinion, just like at a drop of a hat. When we've been calling this stuff out for so long, but because it's like the in thing to do now, they follow suit.
Yeah,
that's what it looks like to me. It's crazy.
Listen, man, look, we do our bit, we try our best, and we keep doing what we do. Don't ever give up, and hopefully the wind changes and they join, and we get enough people to force change at the club. And until that day, get rid of Ange. Next manager comes in, I'm all for it. He's got to go. Ange isn't the right guy. Next manager gets a better tune out of them. We get back into Champions League, maybe get to a semi-final. But until we start signing players better than Odebert and Tel and Sarr and Danzo, we're not winning jack shit. We're not winning anything, man. We need more than that. Look. And that's if we keep our best players next season. Let's see who stays. Let's see who stays.
Don't forget as well, this is what the game-changing stadium was meant to do.
Yeah.
We were promised that we'd sign. It was all a lie. It was all a lie. It was all to make money.
Guys, we're going to talk about the future at the end, but so let's save that for now. Let's go on to the Frankfurt game, right? Let's talk about that because, it's the last roll of the dice for Ange, isn't it, this season and this team? I mean, going back to the game last week, I was disappointed. I just felt that we could have done so much more. I didn't think Frankfurt were great. I think we could have won that game. But when the game started, we just didn't have the oomph. Like when you think back at past managers managing our club, we would really have a go, right? Likes of Redknapp, Poch, there'll be attack after attack, peppering the goal. We didn't see any of that. And we saw a little bit of it in the second half, but it's all too late. And then the game just petered off. Now, look, as I said, I don't think Frankfurt were amazing, but they had a game plan and they pulled it off. And now the game on Thursday is going to be a completely different match because Frankfurt are going to be on us from the start, pressing. They're good on the transition. I mean, the crowd is going to be loud. You think that Wolves game was a tough game. Going to Frankfurt, third in the German league, on the roll. I mean, it's going to be really tough. Now, guys, should we want to start off with what we think the team will be? Maybe predictive lineup for Thursday. Let me get up a lineup for you guys to have a look over. And see if this is the team you would pick, and anybody can jump in and just say, I'd rather have this player playing. So let's get the lineup up on the screen for Thursday, guys. Do you think this is going to be it, Nige? Start with you, buddy.
Yeah, I can't look a lot past that. I'm taking it as Sonny injured. I don't know whether Odebert's injured. Apparently, he might be out. But I think it's going to be not far off that team. Maybe the left-hand side is the one place I'd look that could be slightly different. But yeah, that's probably the side I'd go for. Maybe Spence in place of Udogi. But yeah, it's not far off. It's not far off the team. I mean, it's a pretty simple team to pick, really, isn't it? If we're going for our best 11, give or take 1 or 2 places.
Mark, Cookmeister, any thoughts on that lineup? Would you play that team, or would you?
Well, I
would
think
you want a bit
Kulu
more
will
security in the middle?
Well, I think Kulu will probably play as long as he's come out of his 20 minutes odd that he had the other night. Spence again. Is Spence going to play? I doubt it because he played on Sunday, so I would imagine it will be that back four that you've got there. Yeah, and the same as Nige, really. If Son's fit, he's probably play Son there. That's about it, really, isn't it? What you've got there, there'd be the 3, I would imagine. If any changes, there'll be Kuvaslevski coming in, Son and Odibert, don't know, and if Spence plays for Udogi or Porro. But I can't see that happening personally.
Guys, I think Son will probably start. He's the captain. He's going to be playing, isn't he, if he's fit? What do you think our approach should be on Thursday? I know Ange's approach never changes and it'll be the same old because he thinks that we outplayed them at home. So he's thinking, we can go and do it again at their ground, which is, this is why he's such a bad manager, Stel, what's the game plan? What do you think, how we should approach this game? Forget what Ange would do for a minute. What would you do?
Well, first of all, I'd start Spence. He's the best attacking fullback in the club in form. If he doesn't start Spence, he's an idiot because they'll target Porro again, like they did for the first goal. And I don't think I'd start Kulu because he's not 100% match fit. Maybe bring on Kulu 60 minutes to go, 45 to go. So I'd change the starting lineup. But again, we're guessing this is going to be it. I would, whatever happens, that atmosphere is going to be very hostile. They've only lost 3 games at home all season. They're gonna fancy their chances. So for me, do not concede in the first 15, 20 minutes. So just be a little bit pragmatic and play counter-attacking football. Don't overcommit and just keep that midfield tight. Don't let them get in behind with balls over the top because we push up high. Just the longer the game goes and it's 1-1, they will get more frustrated than us because they're the home team. Their fans will be the ones demanding the win more than us. We're going there just hoping, whether it's penalties, extra time, whatever it takes, we just want to go through. They're going to want this. They're going to want to, beat us 3-4-0 if they can. So just keep it tight. That's what I would do. Keep it tight. And as we grow in the game, then we can build it up. But we'll play a high line. He'll just go for it. We might create chances and put them in the bag. Or they might get in behind us and they take their chances. A bit like the first game. I think it'll be similar, by the way. I think they'll be better in one half and we'll be better in the other half. Which half will be better in, I don't know. First or second, we'll find out. I don't think they're going to batter us. But I don't think they're going to be quite how they were in the first leg. They came and they were quite defensive and well structured in that first leg, and I think they got what they wanted. They wanted to take something back home, whereas we really knew we had to win that. You've got to win your home leg, in my view, and I think a lot of us said we've got to win by a couple of goals, so we've got something to play with. So we're up against it. If Ange goes for it, he goes for it, which he will do. I would just keep it pragmatic for the first 15, 20. That's what I would like to do. I don't think we will do it because Ange doesn't do that.
I could just envision that we go down a couple of goals early. I just think they'll just overwhelm us. Look at the mistakes the other day against Wolves. I mean, it doesn't give us much kind of hope, does it? Or the way we're playing lately. I'm just really worried. I just think that they could storm out unless they, maybe they'll have an off day with their finishing. But I mean, we've got to do so much better performance-wise. Performance of the players, they have to really raise their game. They have to sit in a bit tight, get through the tough periods. Try and slow the game down, keep possession a bit. I don't know, man. I am really worried. Anybody else want to say anything about it? Nige, what's your thoughts?
That's my concern. Sorry, Mark. That's my concern. Is like what you just said. Keeping possession. We can't keep possession. We're just not very good at it. We give the ball away a lot, and exactly what Mark Jones says here. I just hope we don't get embarrassed. That's my biggest concern.
It could be like that. You think it could be like a 3-4-0?
If we start badly and they score early, I think we're in for a long night.
No.
Look, for me, we've got a, which we haven't shown, right? And I said it before. I don't know if the team's got the bollocks to actually have the fight. That's what bothers me, because when I've been watching us, not just lately, but throughout the season, we don't seem to. It's not about leaders. Well, it is about leaders, but in general, we don't seem to be up for the fight. There's no one in there letting someone know they're about. Do you know what I mean? You just don't see it no more. It's almost like it's five-a-side. I know football's different now, and you can't get stuck in like you used to, but you can let players know that you're there. We don't even seem to do that. It's all this tippy-tappy stuff, and you get the odd one going, but we're not physical at all. I don't think so. And you're going to a place like Frankfurt. Well, I'm not saying go there, keep the shit out of them. But what I am saying is they have got some dangerous players, yeah? Romero's meant to be the hard man of the team. Why don't he go and have a whisper in a few ear holes? You know what I mean? It's just all part of the game. But it seems to have gone out of it now. And, we just seem so light when we go out on the field, and it's just, there's just no fight. There's no fight. And I want to see them fight as a collective. I don't want to see them fight as individuals. I want to see us go on the pitch as a collective and leave it all out there. So if you do get beat 1-0, you do go out on penalties, you do get beat in extra time, at least we can all sit here and go, well, we had a right go. Do you know what I mean? The first leg, apart from 6 minutes, we never had a go. We never had a right go at them. The Alamo should have been going in. And it weren't. That 6 or 7 minutes should have been 20, 25 minutes, 30, 35 minutes of sieging them. But it wasn't there. So I just fear that we walk out into that ground. You heard the row that 9,000 Frankfurt fans made for 93 minutes the other night, right? Which I found, considering there was 50 whatever thousand of our fans in there, we were pretty much outsung all night. Now, the boot's on the other foot tomorrow night. It's 55,000 of theirs and 9,000 of ours, or whatever, right? And I've got no doubt our 9,000 fans that are out there will sing their hearts out. Got no doubt about that. But there's going to be 50-odd thousand Frankfurt fans making that row tomorrow night. And I just hope we don't go out there and go meek and sheep-like we did against Liverpool. That's what I worry about. But again, that's just my observation of it.
Let's look at the Frankfurt team, right? This is the Frankfurt team likely to play. The young Turkish player's back. Don't know if you guys know him or remember him from, the international competitions. Uzan, does anyone know him?
Yeah, good player.
Yeah, so he'll be back. I mean, when you look at that team, is there anybody that you're kind of worried about on Thursday?
Trap won't play. He's injured, and one of their best players is Kunef. He's still out. He missed the first leg as well. So them two missing is quite good. Although their goalie had a good first leg for them, Santos. I think Götze and Ekitike, they're the two really we've got to worry about.
Yeah.
They're the two we've got to worry about.
Yeah.
Or do you think, guys, it's just like a collective? They're a collective team which just works well together, and on their day they can be really good, especially at home. I mean, is it more kind of that, or is it we have to really watch these two or three players there on that side?
Simply well coached.
Yeah, they have a lot. I don't know. Stel's the coach here, but I think when you watched them in the first leg, they had a lot of movement off the ball. Even playing 1-2s, quick, sharp passing. No one was ever standing still. Once they'd passed, they was moving. And we had a lot of players not tracking movement. That was clear to see in the first leg when they had the ball. But
if you look at their attacks in the first leg, a lot of their attacks, we outnumbered them. So they'd attack and they'd have 3 against 6 or 3 against 5. If you look at their first goal they scored, there's 5 Spurs defenders ahead of Ekitike, yet he still got a shot away. In the second half, when they broke on us, they didn't have the numbers up there, yet they managed to get into shooting range. I think it was the last kick of the first half. They cut us open and they fluffed it. But we forget all that because we had a lot of good chances where we hit the post twice and we missed some open goal headers and all that. For me, if they have those same attacks, but they commit a few more bodies, we're in big trouble. And I just wonder whether they will commit more being the home team and if they were just a little bit more reserved because they're away from home. Because a lot of teams in Europe are savvy. Their mindset is get the draw away from home, bring them back to our ground, we'll sort it out. The European teams are savvy like that. Was I reading somewhere? We've won 6 out of the last 7 trips to Germany.
Have we?
Sorry, we've lost
Really?
6. 6 out of the last 7. Beg your pardon. Yeah. We've lost 6. So I think the only one we won was 1-0 away to Dortmund. Harry Kane.
Yeah.
And we got peppered in that game. Lloris and Van der Ven saved us so many times in that first half. So, if it's a similar game where Spurs have their purple patch and they have their purple patch, but they commit a few more bodies in the attack, that's going to be the difference. That will be the difference if they're a bit more braver. And at home, why would you not be? Your pitch.
Demand it.
The fans demand it, but your pitch. It's your comfort zone. The smell of your own dressing room. You know how the ball moves on the pitch in certain places, and you're comfortable. It's home. It's where you play week in, week out. We don't know what their ground's like. We've never been there. Not that I can remember.
Still, if they come at us a bit more, in a way, if we drop 10, does that help us out? If they've got the ball more and we're countering them, does that help us out more? Would you say?
If we don't play Ange ball, it helps us. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, put it this way. I was going to say, you look at our best performances this season. 4-0 away at City. When we beat Villa 4-something. All them games, Liverpool 1-0 in the first leg. Ange certainly never told them to do it, but we had to sit back because they pushed us back and we hit them on the counter. That City away game is a prime example. We were pushed back by them and then we played on the counter. A few quick passes and we were through and we scored. This is when we play our best. Not this stupid Ange ball, whatever that is. I don't even know what Ange ball is. From what I've gathered, Ange ball is just losing every week.
Well, it's just Ange's system, isn't it? Of the inverted fullbacks, the high line, the pressing, the rush, never taking time to make decisions right. It's just awful.
But the times when we haven't done that and we've been forced back, i.e. Man City, because Man City always have plenty of the ball. It doesn't matter who you are. When we do that, we've beat them. We beat them. All of our best performances this year, and there haven't been many, it's been when we've been forced back, and then we've had to play on the counter attack. But so I hope it happens Thursday. You know, because to me, they're going to have more the ball than they had at our place. What did we have? 60% 60%, roughly. You know, but if we're in, we don't do nothing with it. That's our problem. We have all the ball. We don't do nothing with it. Side to side, backwards.
The trouble is, Mark, you know, if Ange actually changed it up and been working all week to prepare for a game like this, sitting back, playing on the counter-attack, but we all know he won't. He'll just play his usual way because he's convinced that we outplayed him last week. Even the players have been saying that, oh, well, we should have won it. We outplayed them. So it's, you know, will they force us back? Of course they will. You know, but are they as good player to players than us? I don't think they are. I think we've got a better team, but I didn't think they were amazing. Frankfurt last week.
Yes, we should have won it last week. Yeah.
Shame.
We should have won
it.
It's a different
game. It's a different game at their ground.
Yeah, of course it is.
So I just think the only way we're getting through this tie if we just get lucky. I've got to be honest. Look at our away record this season. We haven't won many games away from home. If you look at it. You know, yes, the Man City result was great. We went to Man United and won, but they had 10 men. When have we played well? We went to Tamworth. We couldn't score 90 minutes. You know, even the Europa League games, we couldn't beat. Who did we play? We got thrashed by Galatasaray. We struggled in every game in this competition.
Rangers away, wasn't it?
Rangers away. Yes, they battered us. So where's this performance coming from? That suddenly Thursday's going to come.
For me, sorry, mate, we've just got to be clinical because I think when we've won those games away from home, we talk about the City game like it was some amazing performance. But if you actually look at the game, Haaland could have had 4 that game. You know, Tottenham were just clinical when they got their chances. And I think that's what we've got to do Thursday night. We've got to ride our luck at the back, hopefully not conceding. If we get a chance or two, we've got to take them. I think that's the only way we go.
But who's scoring? Son's out of form. Solanke's out of form. Kulusevski's coming back from injury. Where are these goals coming from? Johnson. And this is the thing with Johnson, guys. Johnson, everyone's saying we can't criticise Johnson because he's got goals. But I was like this. Crunch time on Thursday against Frankfurt. He didn't show up. He didn't do it. What players in this team are going to show up in a big game? Who? Maddison, maybe? I don't know.
Can I say again, though? I'm not defending him. Can I say again? Johnson is not a winger. Never has been, never will be. Square pegs and round holes.
But he's got goals, Mark, though, isn't he? He has scored.
Yeah, but that is when he's in the sort of auxiliary striker thing. And he comes in the back post and taps it in.
Yeah, when that's what he's been told to do, and he has done it.
Yeah,
Probably he won't do it in a big game.
But what I'm saying is he's not a winger. He never has been a winger. Never has been.
No.
If you played him up front with somebody, whoever, he'd be better. That's only my opinion.
I don't know. I don't think he's good enough, to be honest. So, guys, what's your predictions on this game? You know, does anybody want to make a prediction on it? Nige, go with you first, mate.
I'm going to be negative and say I think we're going to lose. I think it will be by maybe the odd goal, 2-1.
Okay. Mark, Cookmeister.
I think we'll get beat. I don't want to say. Let me just reiterate again. I think all of us want our Tottenham to win. All right, every game. Let's just make that clear. I think the tactics and the system, whatever that is, what he plays, will just do us again. It will just do us again. How many times? It's the same stuff every week. He will not budge. And if you're not going to budge, you get the same result every time when it's not working. So, you know, it might be one. Look, listen, all I want is Tottenham to turn up. And I'm not talking about turn up. It just, you know, turn up. Have a presence there. Show them you're Tottenham Hotspur. We're here. Have a presence about us. A presence will mean a lot. If you show your presence on the pitch, then you can do what you're good at on the pitch. If you go on the pitch as a sheep, you're going to get battered. You're going to get beat. Now, this is a European night in Tottenham history, right? If them players, and I don't, listen, whatever the manager's saying, not doing, if those players can't get up for a quarter final of a European competition, right, and put the effort in and put themselves about, then what's the point? What's the point?
This is it.
You know?
This is
but
it.
at the same time, even though we know he's not going to change, Dan, or the chances are everything that he's shown us that we're not going to change, he's not going to change, right? It's not beyond the realms that if he does slightly, and we all know what we mean when we're talking about that, if he does that slightly, we could nick a win. But I don't think personally it will happen. I think we'll get overrun early. If they shit themselves early, mate, we're in big trouble. I'll tell you that now. We're in big trouble. But
look, Mark, we all want us to win. I get you. We all want to win the game. Of course we do.
I just can't see how we do, Dan. I just can't see how we do.
And you know, we can want to win the game and not support Ange. You know what I mean? We still want to win the game. It's just that we all know what this team is under Ange. So it's, you know, we're so doubtful. Now, Stel, what's your predictions?
5-0 Tottenham. We're going to batter them. It's going to be a masterclass, absolute triumphant day. We're going to be celebrating it in the streets. No, not at all. I'm going to say 3-2 to Frankfurt.
Okay.
They're just going to beat us on the night.
So
maybe next
game then. You think
maybe
so?
next time
game?
Yeah, it'll be a close game. They're not great. We just don't have a good manager.
Yeah,
we can get that.
It is.
We don't have a good manager.
They don't, and I just this is why it's just so frustrating that if we just sacked Ange months ago, we could have another manager in place and felt actually hopeful of winning this competition. This is where it's down to Levy, you know, not sacking him. I
still right from earlier though, Dan, what he said. A new manager, only gives you that, you know, if we could get the right manager in and it gives you a lift and the players are played what's best for them rather than, you know, adjusting, trying to ask people to do stuff that they're not good at. Right. So it gives you that feel good factor. No one's saying that a new manager comes in and we go and win the league. No one's saying that. But at least it gives us a little bit, if the right manager comes in, of stability, because we know that these players ain't 17th, 16th, 15th.
Yeah. We're going to get onto that, Mark.
It's all, Dan, it's all going to be small steps. We've gone so far down.
Yeah.
So far down. It's not just about being 15th, 16th, 17th. It's how it's been going, you know, since...
I agree, man. I agree with you.
4 years. And it's just been a gradual steady. And I think half the problem is with the fans, we don't see that anything's improving at all. We can't even sit here and say, well, that was all right this week. At least he had a go at that and tried that. It's just the same shit. And he's not changing. And he's said it a number of times in his press conferences. We play how we play. And that's it. So they play his way. And it's the other way, isn't it? Basically.
Yep.
So they're following instructions. All those kids that are playing, they ain't going to say, boss, I don't think we should be doing that. They're just going to go out there and get on with it, mate. They're all kids at the end of the day. All them young ones, Gray, the Bergvals, the Odiberts, the Tells. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I hope a few of the players have gone up to him and said, "Oh, but boss, this ain't working, mate."
Well, some
I
have, I
hope a
think,
few of
haven't
them
they?
have fell out with him and told him, because to me, they wouldn't be professionals if they didn't. You know what I mean? I'm just I'm dumbfounded by the manager. Like all of us, I can't see why he doesn't even try stuff. He doesn't try anything. It's just the same thing. And the other thing as well is, we've all had this conversation as well. All the pathways that are being blocked. They go on about youngsters, yeah, but they're buying players and the pathways are being blocked. Look at Mikey Moore now. No one's saying he's the best ever, but give the kid a chance. You can't ask kids to play 45 minutes, be absolutely wonderful and outstanding. It happens once in a lifetime, and then you buy.
They waste 10 million on Tell.
Well, you've
Mark,
got Tell there, you've got Odibert there.
Why Moore couldn't have played?
Son's there, you've got Mikey Moore. He's 4th, 5th in line.
Yeah, it doesn't add up. It doesn't add up, Mark.
It's very frustrating, Dan. Very frustrating.
It is, Mark. I get it, man. It's a horrible season. Disgusting. Sheriff, your prediction before we move on to the last topic of the night.
I think it depends what happens in the first 20 minutes. If we can keep it tight, not concede. Let's face it, we normally concede in the first 2 minutes. But if we can keep it tight for 20 minutes, 25 minutes, that's what we want to do. Just sit in, keep it tight, even get their crowd on their backs when they're all over us and they can't break it down. You know? This is what good teams do in Europe. The first thing you've got to do is stop the atmosphere. Stop the atmosphere on the ground. Because obviously it's going to be buzzing when it kicks off. If you can quiet the crowd, that's half the battle. Half the battle. If we sit in and don't concede, if we can concede early, we're done. We're done. It's as simple as that. Because then we got to go chasing the game and we'll just get ripped to shreds. Honestly. But as everyone said, we all want Spurs to win. We all do. But I can't see it, man. Not with the way this manager plays. Not with his tactics. Nothing, man. I just can't see it. So, I mean, if they score early, it could be a real battering. It could be an embarrassment. But hopefully, they don't score and we nick it like 1-0 or something. But we need everyone on point. We need everyone on point. And when we get that chance, take the bloody thing. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
my heart is saying Spurs will win, but my head is saying, don't be so stupid, we're going to get battered. Because it's the history of the season. All the promoted clubs that have come up, they virtually all beat us, apart from Southampton.
Okay. All right.
So why should I be confident?
Yeah. No one's confident.
Get behind the team, Mark. Get behind the team.
Nobody's.
Well, it's difficult, mate.
You know what I'm saying, though.
Yeah, well, I do get behind the team, but it's becoming torturous.
It is, mate. It is.
Right. Okay. I like to look at the future because I've had enough of this season. So let's talk about that. Now, I'm going to start off with a bad question, and then we're going to go on to some more positive questions. What if, in the worst case scenario, Ange is still here in the summer? I mean, after the summer, and he gets more signings. Guys, just quickly, what's going to happen next year if this happens? Are we going to be in a relegation battle with this manager? We're not going to have any Europe. What will happen?
Bill, do you want to go first? Because you got a pop soon, haven't you? Go on, mate.
Yeah. What a horrible question.
Well, we have to get it. We have to talk about it because there's some people who are worried. I think he'll be gone, but
Right, I'll say
ask
this:
some people
if he does the impossible and wins the Europa, I've got no issue with him being given the start of next season to prove that he can turn it around. If he wins the Europa, though, a lot of fans say no matter what, he's got to go. I disagree, because the way I see it, and I know it might be an unpopular view, is we haven't won a trophy in 16 years. We haven't won a European trophy in 4 decades. If he does that, you can't get rid of him. He's done something we haven't seen in so long that we've been craving for, and he would have got us back into the Champions League. So it ticks so many boxes: a trophy, a European trophy, and Champions League football. You've got to give him the start next season, in my opinion, and I won't moan or complain about it. I won't. If he doesn't win the Europa Cup, which is highly likely, he cannot be here next season. He cannot be here next season. We won't be in Europe. We're not going to win the fucking league. He's not going to get the financial backing in the summer. It's a disaster. And I think what will happen is there'll be a mass revolt from the fan base. I think it will be the most toxic it's ever been. And we've seen some toxicity. He can't be here next year, Dan. He can't. If we end up 16th, 17th, no trophies, mate, he's done. It's impossible. The players won't want to play for him. We'll lose 1 or 2 of our better players. The transfer window in the summer will be an absolute fucking dumpster fire. The whole thing's broken. The whole thing will be broken. You can't. You can't. Lange will still be here. Man will. They'll all still be here, man. It's impossible. If he is here, if it does happen, then I'm checking out. I ain't doing this shit for another year. This season's been horrible.
No, I can't face it. It's been hard enough.
Another fucking year of hippie face. Fuck that. Another year of that fucking nutcase. Nah. And then all the others, every player we signed this summer, dibbling, dynamic, operational player, how he fixes Spurs' problem. I'm not listening to all this shit again. This is too much.
Yeah, but he's only 12.
It's not fair. It's not fair. Why isn't Mikey Moore playing? Why doesn't Ange get a chance? I'm not doing this for another year. It's not fair. It's not fair on my health. It's not fair on your health. It's not fair on fans. It's wrong. Everything about it is wrong. So if he's here, Dan, look, maybe some people will be excited because I'll be gone. I personally, I'm not doing this for another year with him. I'm not. And another shit transfer window, another year of Levy saying this year was difficult. We faced unprecedented challenges, but we put the fans first. Everything we do is to try and take the club forward. I'm not listening to all this shit anymore. I'm not. I don't want it. I can't do it. I actually can't do it. I physically cannot do it. I'm getting older and older. I haven't got it in me. I don't have it in me to support more failure, more mediocrity, because I know next season will be worse than this season.
Before you jump off, Stel, I know you've got a few more minutes.
Unless he wins the Europa, then I'll stay.
Yeah, look, I don't think he'll be here. It's impossible. If he wins that Europa League, I mean, I can't even think about it. I don't think we will, but
we won't.
You never know.
I don't think we will.
So going on, looking at managers next season, I mean, I had a couple of questions around it, but I mean, for me, if the club had any ambition, would go for a top manager. But we know we're not going to do that. Someone like an Inzaghi, Xavi Alonso, someone like that. If that would show you, the new CEO coming in, maybe they'll have a completely different game plan and, really want to go for it next season. But it's unlikely. Very, very unlikely. So, realistic, guys. Who would you like to see, Stel? There, it's going to be out of probably Glasner, Frank, Areola, Silva. Out of those, who would you take? And why?
I really, really, really wanted Areola. And I said because he plays a 4-3-3, which is similar to us, so the transition isn't too hard. He goes into a 4-2-3-1, which is good. It means he can adapt. He's done well with young players. Bournemouth have been exciting to watch. It's like a Poch 2.0. And I feel that, that's exactly what we need. Having said that, though, Do you know what? I just think we need some stability at the club. We need to be hard to beat, and we need real regimented, solid play. And I just think with what he's done this year, with the tools he's got and the tools he lost, I think Glasner's the man. I think Glasner's the man. We need a bit of German coldness. we need a little bit of that, I think, in the club. And I think he's someone that will handle Levy quite well. I think he's someone that will. It really reminds me of Poch. He's maybe just a little bit too nice, a little bit nice. Whereas Glasner, he seems like he's a serious guy. He comes across like a serious cookie, and he's a cold operator. I like it. I think we need that. I think we need a bit of that. And he's done well, man. He's done well. He's done well with the transfers they've brought in. He lost his two best players, Anderson and Elise. He's turned Mateta into a beast. I think with the players we've got and maybe 2 or 3 more signings, we could really have a good season next year with Glasner. I think he's got the right balance between. Sometimes Bournemouth can be a little bit too gung ho, a little bit. Not that I'm against it when it works, because when it works, it's great. But I think Glasner's got the right balance. I think he's got the right balance of defence and attack.
And we've got the players.
I don't think he's.
Haven't we?
I just think he'll make the players suit. He'll work the system for them. I think he can coach. Like, he can actually coach.
Mm-hmm.
If we got Areola, I wouldn't be upset. I wouldn't be upset at all. But I think Glasner, mate, he won the Europa Cup with Frankfurt. He's got something about him, you know. There's something there with this guy. He's not that elite manager, but he's not unproven. And he's got Premier League experience. He's got Premier League pedigree. He's picked up some good results this season. Listen, we went to Crystal Palace and they were on their knees, man. They couldn't get a win for Toffee and they bullied us. They absolutely bitch slapped us that day. Glasner knew, let's get into them. They're soft. We need that. Someone just mentioned about 5 minutes ago, you know, we're weak. I think he'll toughen us up. I think he'll make us a little bit stronger. In fact, I think he'll make us a lot stronger. So, yeah, he's my man. I really would like Glasner. I think he's a proven winner. He's done it in Europe. He's done it in Germany. He's got Premier League experience. He knows how to set up a team. He knows how to coach. He ticks a lot of boxes. And he can work to a tight budget, which is what Crystal Palace had. And he's going to get that at Spurs in the first season. We ain't going to spend fucking jack shit in the first season. You know it already. Levy's already planted the seeds. Don't expect much. I reckon he can make it work. I reckon we might begin to see Udogie become a good player. We might actually see Spence and Vertonghen be more than just players that can bomb forward and sprint back. He'll definitely develop Bergvall. You won't see Maddison playing as a 6. We'll actually have a proper 6 at the club. Maybe Archie Gray will get a crack at it. Mikey Moore will get a crack. We'll start seeing some players actually playing at a level that we think they can do. Yeah, Glasner. That's my answer.
No, great points, man. Great points. I like what I'm hearing. I just think with the players we have, three at the back, the wing backs, I just think it's there. I think we need to look at a manager who kind of plays that system, you know, with the players that we got and add some quality in. I think that's, it sounds good to me.
Listen, Crystal Palace went away to Man City. They were 2-0 up. I know they lost and Man City battered them. So there's questions to be asked, but Crystal Palace by a whisker should have gone 3-0 up. That third goal goes in. I don't think Man City are coming back in that game. They almost did an absolute number on Man City. And this is a Man City that's found form. And it's a Crystal Palace team that's, mid-table?
Yeah.
But they're above us.
Say that again?
And I said they're above us. Everyone else is, mostly.
Mate, Wolves will be above. West Ham and Wolves will be above us after we play them. After we play West Ham. I don't think we're going to beat West Ham away. But who would you guys have?
I agree with you on Glasner. You can say Silva, Frank, all those type of coaches. All I want, personally, I want to coach because I know these players are better than what they're showing. Right, like I said earlier, I don't expect them to go and win the league, but with, tactics, structure, whatever you want to call it. And also what I feel is really important is whatever coach comes in, his coaching staff must be allowed to come with him so that is implemented into not only the squad, but the younger players as well. I think that's so important. Levy's refused so many managers their coaching teams. And, we need that badly, I believe, as well. So, yeah, I'm with you, Stel. Glasner, I think Silva would do a job. There was mention of Xavi, whether he would come or not, whether they could persuade him to come or not. I don't know. But
I'll tell you now, I'll tell you what, whoever comes in, if they agree to keep Mason, I'm going to want him out already. I'm gonna want that, because to me that says mate. It means the manager's another yes man.
Yeah,
it means he's been told what to do. It means Levy said no, you got to keep him. We can't have another yes man. The guy that comes in must say, no, it's my people. If you want to put him in the academy, make him the under-21s coach, make him the physio, make him the new club doctor. Do what you want. My starting 11, my squad. I don't want anyone here that isn't my guy. If we don't have that, and Mason's got to be a part of the team again, fuck that. The new manager's finished. He's signed his resignation letter in advance.
Yeah.
You know it.
I agree with that. Exactly. Yeah.
Mate, what's wrong with Mason? Why the fuck is he still here? Go and get a career, man. Go and manage a lower league team. Make a name for yourself if you're that good. And then if you prove yourself good, maybe one day there's a space for you back at Spurs, maybe. Go do what Lampard did at Gerrard and Rooney. Was he still doing it?
He needs to get a club, doesn't he? I agree. He needs to go.
Mate, ever since he became part of the coaching team, the fucking club fell apart. The club, ever since he got on board with the last 6 managers, the club fell apart. We've gone off a fucking cliff since he joined the coaching team. Conte, Nuno, Stellini, he got in charge. Ange, ever since, mate, do you know what? Maybe Mason is the mole. Maybe Mason is the mole.
I was going to say that.
Look, Mason.
Is he the mole? Maybe. Oh, my days. Nige, I know who you want, man.
Yeah, you know what? I've been banging this drum for ages and ages now. But now I'm thinking, why is he still out of a job? Because I've wanted Terzic for, like you say, ages. But he still hasn't got a job, is he? And that's a bit of a concern. You would have thought he might have been snapped up by now. But if we're looking for young managers who, I think he plays an attractive style of football. Yeah, he's more defensive than Ange. Of course he is. But, he took Dortmund to a Champions League final. He probably should have won the league with Dortmund as well. But, for me, he's an up-and-coming manager. And if we're looking for a manager who's going to play younger players, he would be my choice. But he hasn't got Premier League experience. And he has been out of work for a while, which is a concern. But he will still be my man.
Fair enough. Stel, do you have to jump, or you got a bit longer?
Yeah, no, I've got to jump. I just want to hear what everyone else thought. So,
okay.
what about you and Mark? Who would you have?
Go, Mark. You go first, mate.
Well, you know who I want. I've banged his drum, but unfortunately, he's managing the US.
Mate, everyone's got a price. Everyone's got a price.
Yeah. But he ain't going to leave there. But we might get him back end of next season when the World Cup's done, or whenever the World Cup's on.
When we're in the fucking championship.
Well, yeah. If he still wins something with us, then hang on a minute. We'll go up. If we got relegated, right? Levy would insist that we come up in the championship, in the playoffs, because that's the biggest money spinning game. It's worth all these millions. That's what Sky announced it as. And so Levy will insist we come up in the playoffs. Now, me, personally, Poch ain't coming back. And plus, as much as I love Poch, and I do, Poch made me the proudest I've been to be a Tottenham fan. I was probably between the ages of 10 and 14 with the General, Birkinshaw. So, I couldn't strut me stuff about and all that sort of stuff. But when Poch was here, man, I used to wear my Tottenham shirt with pride.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to go in the pub and all the Arsenal people in there, Chelsea mates I say Arsenal mates in inverted commas. But I'd still get the grief out of you one back all, Spursy, all that sort of stuff. But I'd say, we got you in a couple of weeks. And I'd say, want a friendly beer on it? And they'd be like, and they always used to say yes, but most of the time they'd end up buying me a beer, which was a bonus. Because for years before that, I was just, when have we got you? Right, I'll mark you down for October the summer and April the summer. I got to get you a beer. I'll mark you down for September and February. I got to buy you a beer as well. But with Poch, he made me so proud to be a Tottenham fan. Hardly any shit wherever I went. None of this Spursy nonsense. None of it. But to be honest, now I just want anyone other than Ange. The man is the worst manager I've seen. And I saw us get relegated. I said this earlier. So, but Glasner, Iriola, bring anybody in. Anybody in. As long as he works with the players. Well, I believe they will because they're both good coaches. We need a coach more than anything else that will get the best out of the tools that he's got. See, Ange, he's got his one system. And no matter whether the players can play in that system or not, he shoehorns them in. Square pegs and round holes all the time with him. He doesn't get the best out of the assets he's got.
So Mark, is the answer Poch? Yeah.
No, because he's not coming back. I'd have Glasner, Iriola, any of them.
Okay.
Any of them. Just bring a coach in that'll work with the squad and make us solid, make us fluid. It's not that difficult to do, surely.
I thought you were about to say we've got a Tottenham back.
Well, no. That's not happening. The Tottenham I know was stolen from me years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Listen, we can only hope someone comes in shortly that just gives us a bit of something back that we can be proud of on the pitch, because it's a long way back to where we want to be to, but a manager can give us some of that back. Someone who, just to put it bluntly, knows what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. So for me, I mean, I would want to go for a top manager, but it's not going to happen. So when I think about it, the team we have and the options, I mean, Glasner is probably my favourite, to be honest. He is. I just think, he can defend, attack. I think we've got the players to play a system suited with the kind of three at the back with the wing backs. I think I'd be happy with that. But like many of you guys have said, there's so many there that would come in and do a much better job than Ange. Areola, I do like, but just a little bit worried about we're going to have the similar kind of issues, with injuries and stuff. So I probably want somebody a little bit more balanced. And that's probably why I probably prefer Glasner. And I think he would come. I do. I think he would come. I think he would snap the job up. So that's my answer.
Yeah. Do you think, Stel, if Glasner came, that we'd be able to nick a couple of players from there, like a Wharton or someone like that?
I don't think they'll do that, man. They won't be happy that they're losing him. So I don't think they're going to play ball. They won't want to lose players as well as a manager.
I don't know any manager that's come to us that actually brought players from the club he came from. I was expecting Poch to bring Mane. We didn't. Conte
He
came.
tried to, but Levy wouldn't sign it.
This is the problem. Conte came. He didn't bring in any players that he had at Inter. Mourinho didn't bring any players he's worked with before. It's just Spurs is weird like that. So probably not. Probably not. I mean, it'd be good if he did, but yeah. No, I don't think he would.
It's going to be difficult this summer. Very difficult this summer.
Oh, mate, unless we do in the Europa Cup, I've written off this summer window. I've already written it off. I've already prepared for next season being. See, Glasner's going to need 3-4 months before we start seeing the fruits. We're going to need There's a lot of reprogramming that needs to be done in that squad. There's a lot of coaching that needs to be done. We're going to need 3-4 months. Fans might even get on his back early doors, but I think come Christmas onwards, we might, we should begin to push on.
Yeah, still, that's what I'm thinking. It's not going to be straightforward next year with a new coach.
Whoever comes in, it's a mess.
Yeah.
Fucking mess. We're 17th, man. We're a fucking shambles.
To repair all the damage. Ange's damage.
We don't know how to defend. That's going to take at least 3-4 months, minimum. We don't know how to control a game of football. The midfield's so dysfunctional. Then you've got a front three that don't know what they're doing. There's so much that needs to be repaired. There's so much that needs to be repaired. It's going to take a good effort. It's going to take time. The good thing is there's quite a lot of young players, so they pick things up quicker. It's not like trying to teach an old dog new tricks.
So saying that, Stel, do we need a manager who can work with young players? 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen. Yeah. 100%. 100%. Glasner can do it. He's got young players at Palace.
Yeah. Wharton, I like Wharton. I think he'd be a good player. Like you said, Mark, if we could take him.
Oh, I love Wharton.
He would be a great player, man.
Yeah. But there are players out there still, there are players out there still that we know, like Levy will not go above we know Solanke cost 65. We know he was paying Timo 190 grand a week, whatever it was. But still, as a coach, you must know there are players out there that are buyable for Spurs. Good players that maybe not at that level yet, but they're on the way up. And surely that's for scouts to go and find those players still. And we seem to be incapable of doing that now.
Because we've got Lange. Look at the recruitment officers at Brighton and Palace. They're doing it. Lange is not good. He's a suit. He's such a yes man. Yeah. He's another one. He's another corporate jockey. He just sits there just saying all the right things, finessing the fans, putting out videos. Mate, Paratici was real. He wasn't perfect, but he brought in Spence, he brought in Van der Ven, he brought in Vicario, he brought in Udogie, he brought in Porro, he brought in Bentancur and Kulu, who helped get us top 4. He's got an eye for a player. We just need a manager that knows how to then progress the players. He brought in a couple of duds as well. He brought in Gazzaniga, Chicken Royale. These were duds, absolute duds. But he did more good than bad. And the youngsters he brought in to the academy who don't get a look in, that's not his fault. He also brought in Simon Davies, who's the head of the academy now, who's done a great job. He's done a fantastic job in the academy. But again, what's the point if we're not going to use it? Paratici laid down the foundations and he brought in good players to the club. But the people that then had to take that work and execute the final piece of the jigsaw, they failed. Yeah. Paratici did his bit, but Levy failed. Lange failed. Why did we get rid of that head? Who's that? When Paratici left, there was a scout that we had that was quite good.
Gabardini, was it?
He should have been given Lange's job, but instead we got rid of him. Such stupid things like that. That's not Paratici's fault. Now we've got
Well-
Lange. It's not been great. It's not been great at all. So
Well, this is what I was going to go on to, guys. I was going to go on to that. And, you know, we talk about manager. It's not
Dan,
just
I'll let you do that because I've stayed longer than what I'm supposed to. But I can see myself getting dragged in. But now, listen, big up to you and your channel. Hope everyone subscribes. Make sure you follow the guys and Nige and Cookie Meister and Mark, all the guys. And just pray to God, man, Thursday. Just pray. Give us a nice Easter surprise, please. Please.
Cheers, Stel, for coming
Big
on,
up,
man.
Stel.
Appreciate
Big
it.
up.
Big up, lads.
Take
Until the
care,
next
man.
one. Have a good one.
See you
See you
soon,
later.
mate.
Guys, what do you think about this, Terry? Big up, Terry. Get Scotty Parker. His team's only conceded 13 goals in 42 games.
Could do with him in midfield at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be honest, that's the complete opposite of us. We normally concede 42 in 13 games.
Yeah.
The trouble is, Burnley don't score a lot either, do they?
No.
Well,
They draw a lot of games.
Well,
Well,
I
they're
don't
going to
know.
get promoted, right? Aren't they? Are they getting promoted?
I think so. I think
Yeah.
so.
should be.
So, guys, going on to the final, because we're talking about manager, yeah, which is so important, right? We get the right coach in, but it's not just that what needs to happen in the summer. It's the whole recruitment team, isn't it? Well, obviously, we've seen Paratici there watching the game the other day, so it looks like he's coming back. So does that mean that's the end of Lange, Munn? We got, we heard about the CEO, the Arsenal CEO coming in.
Really?
Are we going to see another restructure?
Yes, probably. I think it's the only way, for me, it's the only way we go forward, because I don't think that the way we're structured at the moment is good enough. So I think most of them need to go, and we need just a massive clear out of not necessarily players, but manager, obviously Lange, Munn. They all need to go, and we need to start again now.
Yeah.
But we do it every 18 months. I said it before. We don't ever only change the manager. We always change the backroom staff as well, whether it be coaches, whether it be directors of football, whether it be medical staff. We just constantly do it. It's a constant turnaround. Drives me nuts.
Who on the Spurs? Who upstairs? Out of them upstairs, apart from obviously we don't know if Paratici is coming back yet or not. But there's no one up there that's football minded, are they? Lang's not.
No.
Munn's not. You know what I mean? Donna Cullen's not, I'm assuming.
No.
You know?
Lange was he the one involved in the Olympics in Australia?
Yeah, him or Munn, one of them was.
Yeah, it was one of them, wasn't it? I mean, they're not even football.
But they're not
people,
football people, Mark. This is
No.
what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's all right going on, stats and this and that or whatever it is they do now, whatever they're looking at, right? But surely you've got to have someone that has got an eye for a footballer.
The worst thing Tottenham done is get rid of David Pleat when he was a scout.
Paul Barber as well when we had
Yeah.
him. Paul Barber, Gabbiadini was mentioned as well. These were all people with an eye.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. David Pleat picked some hell of a players out. He had the eye. That's what you need.
Stats are all right, and I get the stats part of it. Now, football's moved on and that's what they look at. I get that. But, you must have someone who's got an inkling of, what a half-decent footballer looks like. You can't just be looking at computers all the time thinking, well, he's done that and he's done that, because that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for your team, as we are seeing now.
Yeah, no, I agree. Can I just butt in quickly just to say, anyone watching, please, if you haven't subscribed to the Two Mark Show, subscribe to the Two Mark Show. The link is in the chat.
I'm just going to sneak it in there.
Sneak it in there. Subscribe to the Spurs DANalyst as well. And yes, please, if you could subscribe to me at Pure COYS, that would be much appreciated. Thank you so much for all of your support. Guys, it's just depressing, isn't it? At the moment.
It's
Where
difficult.
do we go
It's
from
really
now?
difficult. We're sitting here at the moment again, twice a week, just watching the same stuff and hoping and praying that we nick a win. You know, I want to be excited about my football club again, you know, because it's not, you know, it's not just the football. It's everything else that's going on that perhaps it's nothing to do with us. We shouldn't get involved in, but we are allowed to talk about it because that's what we're on here to do. You know,
If every channel just, you know, blew smoke up the team's arse, then there'd be pointless having more than one channel,
well,
not
you
just
know,
on one channel.
we have to talk, and I'm sure most of our, you know, Dan's chat understands that, you know, a lot of the channels we're going round in circles, and it's so difficult to talk about this stuff and bring you sort of a different content to it when it's the same stuff going on every week.
How many times, Mark, have we said, when we do a show, Nige and Dan are on a lot of them, we just will copy and paste that show and put it out the next week for the following game to save bloody people watching, you know, to save us wasting our time for 2 hours, whatever.
Mm.
You know, it's the same nonsense every week. I said it earlier, I just want to feel proud of my team again. You know, all the Chelsea and Arsenal fans I know now, they don't even banter me anymore. It's like Stel said, like all his Arsenal mates, they feel sorry for him. You know, you see Paddy Power come out with a new bloody advert on Facebook or whatever. It's always about us. We've turned into a banter club. A banter club.
And this comment here, I mean, we're talking about obviously Spurs, but Villa have gone out tonight, obviously, but they put up a performance. And
Yeah, allegedly.
There's no disgrace. You know, but they can go over to the fans and clap their fans with a bit of pride. And the fans, that's all we want to see Thursday night, isn't it? Like you said earlier, Cookie.
Mm.
You know, we want to see the team leave everything on the pitch.
That's it.
And
yeah,
they do that, then we're proud. But if they just put in another turgid performance,
well, can I just mention?
Get behind the team.
Can I just mention? Bloody Sunday when we lost at Wolves, bloody captain buggered off down the tunnel.
Yeah, that was disgraceful.
Listen,
what do you think about that,
Mark? I'll be honest with you, right? 75% of that team's checked out, mate.
Yeah, they have, man.
Right? There's players there that don't want to be here next season, especially if they think the manager might be here. Right? There's a lot of players in that team that have either, you know, from the gist I get, they've either fell out with him or there's been words spoken about the tactics. We've all seen it. Maddison in the dugout. It's the same thing every week behind his hand. Same thing every week, right? Same as when Enoch bought Spurs. We're here to make money. They told us all from day one. Yeah, that was up to us whether to believe them or not. You know, but they did tell us that. You know, so whether that's right or wrong or not, we still want our football club. Right? And as fans of, you know, I'm mid-50s, Mark, I know you are, Dan and Nige, you've been Tottenham fans for a long time, right?
We must have 200 years between us here.
Whatever we've got between us, right? And at the end of the day, we're not stupid. Right? I've got to say that. We're not coaches, but we're not stupid. We've all played a bit of ball in our time, you know, and what we're seeing, so many people can't agree and it can't not be right. You know, we're all sitting here saying the same thing for nearly 18 months now. And to be honest with you, when we went the first 10 unbeaten, I don't care what anyone says, it weren't that good. It weren't like we was blowing teams away. Because we weren't. It was just a new brand of football that had come in and other teams had to adjust to it. And it didn't take them long, did it? You know? So we've got to the point where everyone's worked him out, or the majority of people have worked him out. Some people want to take him on the pitch, which then, to a point, that suits us. But when we don't get taken on, when we've got the possession and we're doing the attacking and we're all over the gaff, that suits teams just to hit us. We've seen it many a time, and that has to change. It has to change. It's been allowed to go on for too long. And it's not just that as well. Players' careers are getting wrecked. I don't care what anyone says. Van der Ven, mate, if his hamstring goes again like it did last time, he's pretty much done.
He's done.
He is done. You can only have so many injuries, the same injury so many times as a footballer. He's got to go, man. He's got to go. He's just got to go, and we've got to get a coach in and get back to, playing football again, not just running around at 100 miles an hour like lunatics.
I think he will be gone. The likelihood he'll be gone. There was a question earlier from which we didn't get a chance to answer. Do you think these players know Ange is gone? The number of mistakes against Wolves are bizarre. They look checked out.
Yeah, predominantly just what I said just now. They look, the Wolves game, a lot of players look disinterested.
Yeah.
Again, fight on the pitch. What we was talking about. Listen, every time you walk out on that pitch for Spurs, right? I don't care who you are, where you come from, you're getting paid every week, a lot of money, right? Now, when you've come to Spurs to sign that contract, right, the least you should be doing is giving your all every single time you step on that pitch. Forget the results, forget the manager, forget what he's doing. As pride, as a player, whether you're on 10 grand a week, 100 grand a week, or 200 grand a week, you have got that cockerel on your shirt, right? You sign that contract. Go and play for that cockerel as a collective. No one expects you to win every single game. But what people do expect is you to put it in on the pitch. And that's what I expect minimum from my football club, from our football club, from our players.
I've said this many times, Mark.
That's all I want. That is all I want. And then the results, once you get a coach in who can coach and he brings his team with him, who can coach, who can implement their system, and who is adaptable, by the way. We don't want a coach that just comes in and goes, boom, I'm playing this way like this one has. We need someone who can be adaptable, but we need a coach that can coach players, and not just your young players, coaching the squad players to how he wants them to play. And I think, like Dan said, if you can get into that sort of, wing back scenario, 3 at the back, have one sitting in front, none of this inverted crap. Get your players going down that wing, up, down, up, down, up, down. They know their role then at the end of the day. When you've got the ball, attack. When you haven't got it, drop back in. It's simple, isn't it? Because that is how it works.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, I'm not a coach, and we all see that when it happens every week. So surely, 3 at the back, if you want to call it 5 across the midfield, but the 2 wing backs, up, down, up, down, up, down. Just like Bell used to be. Up, down, up, down, up, down, because he never neglected his defensive duties when he was here, but he still managed to be going down the wing, having it large.
Guys,
I know we're talking about a different class of player, but for me, I'll tell you something, right? This 4-3-3 without playing with a 6, right? These 2 that are up here, Johnson and Son, whoever it is, they're too lazy, man. Whether it's because of he doesn't want them to drop off, I don't know. But they don't drop off. Johnson does nothing going forward apart from when he hasn't got his left back marking him, he goes sin. Tell me what else he does in the game.
no.
What does he do? Do you see him dropping off, fighting back on the halfway line, defending? Do you see him dropping 20 yards when he can see the blokes running in front of him and no one's getting there? You don't. You don't see it.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna. There's the question here from Yido67. We're gonna go to in a second, but I look at this two things now. So it's Thursday. We need to see what goes on Thursday. What happens? Likelihood that will be out. Then I am putting all my attention onto this to the summer. I've got to be honest. We can get better. We can with a different coach. It can't be this bad again under a different manager. So we have to put all our focus onto, next season. We have to. Well, this season's done. It is done, and it's not that long left now, right? But saying that, we've got some painful games to get through, man, haven't we? Like, we've got 6 Premier League games to go through. Got to go. We're Nottingham Forest are coming to our ground, aren't they? Next, is that Monday? Isn't it Monday night? And then we've got Liverpool. Got to go up to Liverpool, and they could clinch the title in that match. So there's going to be some more pain, and we're going to have to sit through it all. But look, guys, we have to look forward and hope we get a decent coaching. Looking at this question from Nido67, if you could ask Levy 2 questions, what would you ask him? Anybody go first?
My first question would be, could you back the team properly, please? And second, and I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about, employing someone properly to find players for our club. Yeah, that would be the first question. And the second question would be, when are you leaving? Thank you very much. I don't know what else to say, mate. I can't listen. As much as I don't hate the manager as a person, I want him gone. Right? Levy is running our club into the ground. We have to open our eyes to see what is happening in every way. Yeah, we can do what we're doing, protesting because we want him out, right? Nothing, predominantly, as we know, will change until he's gone. Because he, after 24 years, is not going to change. Right? So the best we can hope for, Dan, like we've been talking about, is getting someone in, who can coach the team, who can coach the players. That's our best result until he's gone.
Yeah, I agree.
That's it.
That's it. That's all we can hope for, isn't it?
That's all we can hope for. The only other thing we can hope for is that tomorrow night, Dan, those players go out there, and even if they're not going to show Postecoglou or Levy, go out there for those fans that are out there tomorrow night cheering your team on, and for the fans that are at home wanting us to win. Get out there and give it some portions.
Yeah. That has to be the minimum. We want to see effort. We want to see, some kind of passion from the players.
I've said this a million times. Is Dan froze?
What's that way?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can hear you.
No, he's back.
Yeah.
The picture's froze.
You just froze, mate.
Let me come in and out.
Yeah.
Right. Now, I said this a million times. What's going on here? Bloody hell. At least we're in the right place, mate. I can point that way.
Yeah, none of the shave either. Jesus. Yeah.
Right. Now, I said this a million times. I went to the lane a lot in the 90s. In the 90s, late 80s, early 90s. And to be honest, no, we weren't that good. But we had some fantastic players in that time. The likes of your Gazas, your Ginolas, your Klinsmans, your Sheringhams. And I've seen some... Well, I saw obviously some cups and that, and it was brilliant. But I've seen some average, just say Tottenham teams. But I can say when they walked on that pitch at the old White Hart Lane, they gave their all. They could barely walk when they left that when they left the pitch at the end. They gave their all. Did we always win? No. But you could see the team was trying. This team, you could see it on Sunday. I think they've all checked out. Let's face it, the captain, Romero, just went down the tunnel. Didn't even go over and thank the away fans. Just
Probably
not.
because he knew he was going to get a load of abuse, Mark. That's
Even
why.
if he goes within 40 yards of them, it just goes like that,
He did a little clap and then he left. Indeed,
Well, yeah, but come on, man.
Leadership.
Half of those, all I'd say, apart from the youngsters, because they're not going to check out because they got to try and get a game to start with. A lot of them players, they've checked out for the season. That they have. That they've completely checked out.
Mark, you'll see tomorrow night whether they have or not. Tomorrow night, Mark, will tell you everything about Tottenham Hotspur under Ange Postecoglou.
Yeah.
Right? They've got to go away to the third best ranked team. Yeah, listen. Frankfurt are not the greatest by any stretch. They're no Bayern Munich, right? But, right, they're at home in front of their fans, right? Character is going to be everything tomorrow. Character will be everything. If they shy away tomorrow, it tells you everything about Spurs under this manager.
Yeah.
You'll find out tomorrow whether they're playing for him or not. You'll find everything out because this is his biggest game in charge of Tottenham Hotspur tomorrow, right? Since he's been here. This is his biggest game, right? So let's see what cojones he can put into that team tomorrow because he ain't done it yet. No. Not under this type of pressure that he's under now. So let's see tomorrow. See what happens tomorrow because I'm going to be fuming if I tune into that game tomorrow.
It's Thursday, Mark. It's Tuesday tonight, mate.
Thursday. On Thursday, I will be truly pissed off, and I'm sure many others will. But at the same time, many others will just expect it to be like that. I do to a point, but I'll just reiterate it again. It's a quarter-final. Right, this is his biggest game. So let's see.
This is why I was so disappointed last week that we couldn't get a win because I thought the game was there to be won. I didn't think Frankfurt were amazing. I just didn't think we attacked well consistently throughout the game.
Yeah,
it was just not the Spurs we know in the past. Under like Redknapp and Pochettino, Conte, Mourinho. That we would have something about us under those managers. But we don't have anything about us under Ange, I'm afraid. There's just not been enough. Yes, there's been the odd good result throughout the season and last year, but the players, I just do not think they believe in him. Look at these players. And when I had a question earlier, and I didn't quite finish it. So let's just finish it now before we check out for the evening. So the question was, what player has disappointed you the most? Mark Sheriff, you said all of them, didn't you? Really, Nige, who's been disappointed the most this season? And then I've got another question, which kind of it's in the other way. Yeah. I'll get to it in a minute.
It's a difficult one because they've all been really poor. But the two that have probably disappointed me the most would be Sonny. I just expect more from him. He's our captain. I think he's hid in a lot of games. I think he's shied away. I don't think he wants the ball. I think even when he gets the ball, his touch is bad. So for me, Sonny 100%. And Solanke. Because I was one of these people, and it's out there in YouTube world somewhere that said that I thought Solanke would get 20 league goals for us this season because I just thought we'd create enough chances for him. I know, shocking. But I just thought we'd create enough chances for him to get 20 goals. But he's been so far off it, it's unreal. So for me, Solanke and Sonny have been the most disappointing.
And Mark?
Well, yeah, they have all been disappointing this year. Well, one player I have been, and I know he's been injured and he's come back, but I just don't think he gets what's going on, what's required of him, let's say. And because of how he's being played, it doesn't help him, but Udogie. I think since he got injured and he came back, apart from, was it what, last week he had a little spell that he had a half decent game. I think he's been very poor. Loses the ball a lot, which they all do. But I think a lot of it's on the manager. I think a lot of it on the players is on the manager. I can't say that it's on the manager when it comes to effort, like I was just saying. But I've also been disappointed in Sowanki. For me, he's not a proper centre forward. That's why I asked Stel the question earlier when I said to Stel, when he was dropping off, trying to do the Harry Kane thing, all that sort of stuff. He's just not. He's not what we need. He's. And again, you can say it for all of them. Yeah, he runs round, he works hard, but where's the quality? Where's the quality? And that's what we're so badly missing. There's no mavericks, there's no head turners, there's no seat lifters. We've got nothing anymore. And this is what I say about it's predictable. You know what's going to happen most weeks, nearly every week. And I think a lot of us are crying out for, even though there's not many mavericks in football now, that's what Tottenham have always had, a maverick. They've always had a Gaza. They've always had that Moussa Dembele, that type of player. There's always been something. And we haven't got that at the moment. And I think maybe until we get that back and the youngsters have got a couple of years under their belt, I think Bergvall, listen, I know you've got another question, Dan, but Bergvall, just quickly. Yeah, Bergvall needs coaching, right? Bergvall can play football. I've got no doubt about that, right? He's got the vision. He's got the pass. He can get stuck in, right? But he wants too much time on the ball. I noticed that about him when he first come in, and that hasn't improved. But it will over time with a bit of coaching. And I think Bergvall could be a very, very, very integral part of Spurs going forward as long as he's coached, Dan. Because he has got...
So. I agree, Mark. Totally agree. And there was a question which I'm going to go to in a sec. But when I look at when I was thinking, so before the season started, I was talking about Bentancur and Basuma, where this was the season really where I wanted to see consistency from both of them. I felt that we needed another midfielder in the summer, somebody experienced. We lost Holberg. I felt what we needed a leader, a ball-playing midfielder, somebody who was going to drive this team on. But I was thinking, okay, well, Bentancur, Basuma, this is your season now. And I've got to be honest, I know Bentancur's had his injury issues, and Basuma, I mean, he's been very disappointing. I think that is an area we need to get in the summer right. Yeah, we need that. If somebody in that midfield to drive this team on, whatever manager comes in. I think maybe you'll see a better Bentancur, possibly Basuma with a better midfielder, but them two, they've disappointed me. But then when I think about it, it's down to our system, isn't it? That Ange doesn't play with a 6, he doesn't play with a defensive midfielder. So a little bit of sympathy there, but I mean, they have disappointed me. I've got to be honest, both of those two players overall the whole season. But then the other question I had was, and Mark, you did start off with it, who's impressed you? If we look at players this season, Mark, you said Bergvall stood out for you. Nige, has anybody impressed you, mate?
I would probably agree with Bergvall. I think he's been the one standout player that's listen, he's young. He's not got everything right, but he's the one player that gives you hope, I think. And obviously Mikey Moore coming in as well, but we've not seen enough of him. So I'd agree. Bergval for me, if you're looking at numbers alone, and I'm just going with numbers, then obviously Johnson's got the numbers, but the performances don't match for me. But yeah, I would say Bergval, and yeah, spotlight on Spurs says Spence.
Yeah.
Spence has done well too.
Yeah.
Yes.
But to be honest, he only got his chance when we're devoid of anybody else that went in there.
Yeah, he wouldn't have
This
otherwise.
is another thing I blame on Ange.
Yeah, and then he's playing well and dropped him the other week.
Well, exactly.
So
You know, I mean,
what confidence is that giving to Spence? Can you imagine? He's been in the team for the best part of 3 months. 7 out of 10 performances every week virtually. And then once the defender comes back, that's fit again. It's like, see you later, Jed.
yeah.
You're on the bench, mate.
Yeah.
Look at Archie Gray. I know it's a bit of a different thing. Archie Gray has played how much of this season so far? 3/4 of it.
Must be.
Part of. They've played him everywhere except where you want to see him played. How can you have a go at the kid?
Yeah.
You can't have a go at him because he's playing out of position. And to be fair, he ain't done bad. But he's not like where you want to be with a player. He's a kid.
Yeah.
And you're not playing him for where you bought him for. You're using him as a utility player. And it's just beyond me, man. I don't understand it. And I don't blame her. I don't blame the kids, man. This is why I say about Bergval, because he's being asked to do stuff that you wouldn't ask blokes that have got 15 years in professional football.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He is constantly, if you watch him, he's very rarely standing still. He's always on the go, but he's running all over the place. He's not actually making anything happen. But when he gets on the ball, you can see he's got something. That was the point I was trying to get over.
I think he does. Yeah. He does have something. And with Gray as well, we haven't seen him in the position that we're supposed to sign him for. He's had a lot of games this season. It's good, kind of good for him, kind of not, because he hasn't been able to nail down a position. And we don't know really what he's like in that midfield because we haven't seen him. So look, guys, I don't know, man. There's not any really standout players this season.
No.
There hasn't been.
No.
So Spence, flashes of some good games, but he's not even played on the right a lot, has he? He's been on the left and he's a right back. He hasn't had a consistent run in the team as right back to really judge if he is a good player.
Yeah.
But guys, I think we're going to wrap it up tonight. I've got to go, but anybody else want to say anything before we wrap the show up? Any final thoughts of the evening? Big up to everybody's watched. Big up to everyone in the chat. Thank you so much for your comments throughout the evening. Much appreciated. Anyone want to say anything more?
No, for me, just before we go, Bergval has been impressive, yes, but in the summer, when we signed him, I was saying, it's all right bringing these kids in. And to be honest, that's what you should do. But you should be bringing them in with quality, proven players as well. Put it this way, right? If we'd have signed Eze in the summer, that we were linked with for God knows how long, and then we'd signed Bergval as well, that's fine. Bergval's come into the club, and he's stuck straight in there as a 17, 18-year-old, 19, whatever he is, kid.
He's a kid being asked to do a man's job, Mark.
Well, he is.
And if he's not being coached properly, then
yes.
How can he improve?
No. But this is what I'm on. This is what I'm going on about. Like, it's all right bringing these kids in, but you should be bringing players that improve you immediately. And then Archie Gray and Bergval should be like ones for the future. That they are. I got no doubts that they're both going to make it as top footballers. But even
if you don't bring in an experienced player, then keep Højbjerg.
Well, exactly. Exactly. Bloody, you know, I mean, we should be bringing in. Now, this is what the stadium was built for. Allegedly, I'll get that in there. That we were going to compete. We could pay the wages. We could we would compete with the likes of Man City, Chelsea, Arsenal. You know what I mean? But we're going backwards. We've slashed the wage bill by Lord knows how much. You know, I mean, and what players have we got in our team that get you off your seats now? When I used to go and Gaza was playing, Hoddle was playing, Ginola.
Even Modric, look at Modric, look, players like that.
Exactly. Yeah. Anybody. I just named the first three that come in my head. Like, obviously, Hoddle's the king. Gaza's close. Ginola. You know, like players that get... None of them. I knew that I'd spark Ellie off as soon as someone mentioned Højbjerg.
That's what I did it.
No, but like, these youngsters should be brought in as like additions to sign in players. The only first team player really that we brought in the summer was Solanke. You know, because no one was expecting Archie Gray and Bergvall to play so much this year. I was expecting them to go out on loan, to be honest.
What we bought the keeper for? Well, why did we buy him?
Well, exactly. We've got about 2 or 3 others. Matey that was playing when he had to play, one of the youngsters. He had man of the match that game. I think we still lost. But he had man of the bloody match, and you don't see him now. He's 25 or so, you know? Austin.
The keeper, Austin.
Thank you, Luke. Yeah, thank you, Luke.
Yeah, Austin, the keeper.
Yeah, Austin. He had one game, man of the match, and you ain't seen him since.
Yeah,
so what's the point?
What happens in the summer then when the big money Romero goes? So that, you know, that's 100 and whatever. That'll be gone off the wage bill. So then he'll bring someone else in that he's only got to pay 60 grand a week. So then that'll be, you know what I mean? The wage bill will just keep all the while our established players go. Our wage bill is going to be going like this because he's not bringing in any other established players.
No.
Do you know what I mean? So the wage bill is only going to go like that.
And the revenue will go up, man. There's no doubt there'll be more concerts, more NFL games.
That's all he's worried about.
Well, it is, mate. It's all about the money. I feel fleeced as a Tottenham fan. I feel absolutely ripped off that we built this marvellous new stadium and we're going backwards.
Well, all I can say is everyone get to the protest at Crystal Palace then.
Well, exactly.
Because that's the only thing that we can do to impression ourselves on our beloved board. What else can we do? What else can we do? All we can do is keep going with it. I don't know what else we can do and keep voicing our opinions.
Right, agreed.
Right, guys, sorry, I've got to wrap it up because I've got some things to do before I go to bed. Let's just get everybody's links in the chats just to go over and sub to them. They're all got disappeared tonight. Have you still got them?
Yeah, you want me to bring them up?
Yeah, bring them up.
I've already slipped ours in the chat.
Please, guys, if you haven't already, go and subscribe to the 2 Mark Show. Much appreciated, man. You're on tomorrow night, guys, aren't you? 8 o'clock?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're on tomorrow. Yeah. Anyone wants to come and join, just having a chat about the Wolves game, Frankfurt game on Thursday, and anything else that comes up. But whatever happens, everyone.
It'll be the press conference, Mark, tomorrow.
Yeah.
You'll get the press conference stuff.
Whatever happens, everyone, back your team.
And Nige as well, please, people, if you haven't subscribed to Nige, please just go over there and subscribe to him, please. Much appreciated as well. Big up again to everyone in the chat. Big up to everyone who's watched tonight. Thank you so much. And look, last game Thursday now, isn't it? It's all about that game. Let's pray that we get through. Let's pray. Guys, good evening to everyone. Take care of yourselves. And come on, you Spurs.
You Spurs.